I don't walk around going like, hey, I'm really weird. Look at me, I'm weird. As far as I'm concerned, I'm perfectly normal. It's a litmus test for creepy people.
And Teddy Tutson.
I'm a hate mercenary. Yeah.
All right. Hate mercenary.
Hater for hire. Hater for hire. I should put on a British guy.
There are 2 victimless crimes, all right? 1, jerking off when your window's open. 2, necrophilia.
I'm confessing to a large-scale crime.
Okay, all right.
now.
Legs akimbo, engaged in sexual discourse.
Come on, man. What kind of guest are you?
It's archived for posterity.
Great internet.
So it'll come back to haunt you every day.
Yikes.
It's time to riff.
Oh, yeah. That is right, bitches and motherfuckers. It is April 23rd, 2012, episode 58. It is time to riff the fuck on here on America's second favorite podcast, Straight Goddamn Riffin'. I'm your host, Reverend Mitch, and with me, as always, is the difficult Brown, the hater for hire, Mr. Teddy, TMI Tutson. How the fuck are you, senor?
Oh, feeling real good. Deuces Wild, America's #2. Agent of Chaos on the loose. Fucking Heath Ledger Joker style. Run, tell that bitches about to blow the whole hospital up. Watch yourself, Gotham Memorial.
Almost no part of that made any sense at any time. But that's quite all right.
Riffopolis, you feel me? You feel me, Riffopolis?
I'm also going to introduce our guest this evening, Mr. Richard Bain.
Yo! Oh, shit. Everybody on the couch, Mitch. I tell you,
Jesus.
listen, Richard, I always say, Mitch, everybody on the couch knows something about being black. And you might have set the new record for non-black blackness on the couch. Real talk, son.
I mean,
He came out the gate with the bumble clot.
Original Roder boy.
Everything the sun killer, man. But. Roll that boat. Richard Bain.
I had
You
a,
motherfucker.
I had a,
You don't know nothing about that, Mitch.
I had
Oh, man.
substitute teacher in school who was Jamaican,
Yeah.
and she would call us princes and princesses.
Prince.
Yeah, instead of like Mr. Bain, she'd be like Prince Bean.
You got out of line? Were you a blood clot
What
or
grade
what?
was this?
All through high school.
Oh, so high school.
Yeah.
That's fucking great. So you were old enough to really appreciate what was happening.
I bought weed from her sons like
Oh,
all the
yes.
time.
Did he call you Prince Bain?
No, he called me
Shit,
get
I'm
out
real
of my
brown.
fucking way. He called me white boy. No, they were.
You may be a prince to my
Hey,
mom.
where the white women at?
Yeah,
They
I got you.
They were in a Rasta group called Original Gullyman Billionaires, OGMB.
Oh my
And
goodness!
they used
You
to-
really did hang
Man.
out and buy weed from Jamaicans back in the day. You are legit, Mitch. This is got to be a straight riffing
I'm
record for
telling you.
fucking blackness right now. Oh, you talking about them Jamaicans? Yeah. You mean the Rastafarians that used to buy dime bags from
Yeah.
back in the day?
Pulling up in MVP's fat.
Used to buy Beanie Man cassette tapes from? Yeah.
Yeah, they
You
were.
don't know nothing, Mitch.
Man, I'm
they didn't
telling you.
respect me.
Yeah, just
look-
gets in, starts rolling a joint,
Wait,
bop into the microphone. Starts off with the Jamaican story.
Shit, man,
I
I'm the
mean-
second blackest person on the couch right now. This
Yeah.
has never happened. I've never
Suddenly,
been like-
you got to switch
Yeah,
places or
right?
something up in here.
Yeah, I gotta like pull out a fucking piece and the shit.
Yeah,
I gotta,
Richard,
like,
feel free to just kick out your legs and take over the black couch.
only way I think I
Apparently,
can get
Shit.
more black right now, so I just like convert to the Nation of Islam and like pull out a Farrakhan post.
By the way, this podcast is run by the White Devil.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, Jesus.
You call me Malik, I'll wash your ass for the rest of this podcast.
Is that what was that? Would that be your Nation of Islam name?
I
you
mean, I
think?
would certainly consider it. It would be
Shabazz
very
is a
good.
pretty good
Shabazz
way
would
to-
definitely be my
that's-
last name
that's a
for
good
sure.
way to go.
Malik is a
Shabazz!
real, I probably would go something Malik Shabazz. Do you know what I mean? I would need like
I like starting off with the Malik. You need a space between Malik and Shabazz.
Malik
though.
something Shabazz.
Yeah.
What's good? We can turn to the bumbleclots. We turn to Prince Bain. Wait, how did the rest like
Muhammad
so the whole,
Malik
the whole
Shabazz,
class got
maybe,
Prince
I don't
Princess for everybody? So like, how did they? This is a regular teacher or a substitute? again?
substitute
A substitute.
teacher,
Fucking
yeah.
substitutes are the best.
Yeah.
You know what? That's the one thing that I do miss about school, like the elementary through high school, is fucking just eccentric substitute teachers.
Yeah.
Because I just had a gang of those people throughout their whole run, and they were just the best. You just like now in retrospect, I'm like, what did you do as an
Like
adult?
what? And
how did you end up in
And they were
here?
always old.
Yeah,
They were
always
it was
like middle aged.
Like some of them were retired teachers, and you go, "How did you get all the
Right.
way to retirement?
Right.
Being as crazy as fuck
Yo,
as
like,
you
how
are."
did they let you back in?
Yeah. I think they were like, "All right, you've served your time. You can
Like
you can
this
go
Jamaican,
now."
like what did you know about this Jamaican? You bought weed from the sun, so like you
She
had to
had
know
like
some-
3 sons, and they were all like really like Jamaican, like
By the way, I don't want to cut you off, but you can lean back,
Lean
get
back,
comfortable,
okay,
and
sorry,
pull the
I'm-
shit close. I
No,
mean,
son,
I
let it-
feel bad because
let
you're
it-
like on the edge.
That's
and
how
like,
you know the Jamaican story is gonna be real good. He's been on the edge
Hold
of
on,
his
let
seat
me-
since
let me
he
fix
got
him
in.
up. Let me fix him
roll
up.
the joint and sit on the edge and tell you about these fucking Jamaicans right now.
It's cool. I got you.
Hey,
Okay.
You're good.
Hey,
Is that how you want to sit?
yeah, I guess.
Prince Mazzoni. Yo,
this-
You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go. There you go.
Does he sound okay?
Nah, it's good, man.
sound-
Let that man relax.
Sorry, I always do this with microphones. I'm always like,
What do they do at
Is
Sandals?
I didn't want the dude. I didn't want him like sitting like this, all like
No.
leaning
Okay,
forward.
so
Like,
wait, so
you know,
back to the
uncomfortable.
Jama-
Yeah, let's
Jamaican
go back to
substitute.
Jamaica.
blouse and skirts. The batty boy go pee pee in his panties.
I'll tell you something. You may have been late, but
And
you
you
were
go
right
like
on
this?
time.
And to eat the poo poo.
That's not even Jamaican.
I know. I'm just thinking of that.
Listen,
eat
that's
the
fucking
poo-poo.
phenomenal. That's okay. So,
But that's like my only experience with any like real Jamaican
yeah.
people.
Well,
Like,
you certainly made up for all the lost time. Though I feel.
No,
like.
that's not
Yeah,
true.
I just
Teddy's
take,
Jamaican.
like-
I
so
do
now
trace
you've
my
got-
bloodline back to Jamaica.
really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where at. Like that's one of those things. I guess like if I get famous enough and NBC is still running that dumbass show that they had like Sarah Jessica Parker on, where they trace people's roots from, I could get on that jump.
Well,
You
that
know
was
what I mean?
just something they did on what's his name's show.
No, it was NBC had
No,
a
it's a
fucking
real
show.
show. Did
they have
NBC
a
had a
whole
show. It's
thing?
like, where did I come from, or something like that. And it's a bunch of celebrities finding out. They're like, oh my God, you mean that like I was a slave back in the day? You're like, get off my screen.
And that was Sarah Jessica
Right?
Parker's
Like,
episode.
get off my screen,
She
bitch.
said that she was a slave back in the
Her,
day.
like,
Well, her
Oh,
great
like-
great horse father was
Right.
he used
We're
to-
putting great horse fathers on the board.
By all means.
Great horse fathers going on the board. But no, I'm serious. Like that's like it was like NBC presents Ancestry.com presents where am I
Yeah.
from?
Meanwhile, the people who can afford Ancestry.com services the most are not the people you should be giving it to for free.
Right.
This goes back to that same thing of like, there's a lot of times when you're selling a service that costs a shitload of money, you go to the people who could, you know, that could give it the most publicity, and you give it to them for free. You're like, hey, fuck you. They can already like. Why are you charging?
Dude.
Well, it's-
Perfect example is UStream here on UStream. Like, it's $1,000 a month to go premium, but the top like 10 UStreamers are using it free. Meanwhile, I got to pay $1,000 a month for it. I'm not, by the way. I'm using the free
Say,
shit.
yo, we about to storm
No,
your
man.
castle, son.
I do
Yeah, we
not.
about to get real black in this bitch.
I'm
You gonna
just-
show you real black.
I'm
Hey,
just
let
gonna
the
buy
roll
my
up-
own
let the
live
roll up.
server and do it that way because it's actually cheaper that way,
Well,
and there won't be any ads.
It's
So
funny
go
you
ahead.
say that.
No.
I just did a comedy festival, and I'm like a no name in the festival. I'm lucky to be in it, but there was some like huge names like Janine Garofalo
Right,
and Todd Barry, and I was listening to him backstage talking. I wasn't talking to him because they don't know who the fuck
Yeah,
I
right. You
am.
just creeping in the
I was creeping in the
shadows.
conversation,
In the
exactly.
shadows.
And I'm listening to him go, oh yeah, they gave me like $100 per diem today to like take cabs around and shit. Meanwhile, it's like they don't need money for. Meanwhile, I'm like running 40 blocks to make a fucking show because I have no money to
Right.
take a cab. You know?
got no per
basically-
diem.
That's basically your registration fee is their per diem.
Yeah.
essentially.
Exactly.
yeah.
Like 4 days of registration fees. You know.
You and like everybody that you were fucking sitting at the bus stop with that's their per diem.
Did you have to pay a registration fee for it?
Everyone else did. I knew the guy running it, so I got in for free.
All right, all right.
Clever
But,
girl.
What festival was this? I've
It
still never been to one of
was
those. so.
The Bridgetown Comedy Festival in
Okay.
Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. When he called, I see Portland pop up. I was like, I know who that is.
P-Town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PDX.
See, Mitch, you don't. What
I
you
mean,
gonna
rub
do?
it in.
What you
I
gonna
mean,
do?
whatever, motherfucker. Just rub it
What you
in.
gonna do? I'm not the one rubbing it in, bro. He the one rubbing it in. I'm kicking
Wait,
the salt in
rubbing what in? Is it?
This how much
Blackity
you
black,
belong
black.
on the couch and I don't.
Blackity black, blackity black, black.
Well, that makes the
blackity
great
black,
dynamic.
Since we've
black.
started this podcast, I've not been on
Blackity
my own
black.
couch.
Black. What's up at the bottom?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. Good point. I actually hadn't even set it up yet.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. That's what we
Give
black.
me just a second.
That's what us black people do over here.
And there we go.
It's
Or
a sore. It's a
should- let me
sore
put
spot
the
for
calm
him. It's
down
a
one on.
sore spot for Mitch to know that for a
Nah, just
a
do the default.
locked in interval every week, he is permanently barred from a certain portion of his income
Because you're like
for what he would declare as a seemingly arbitrary standard that he can never fully attain, and
Yeah.
to which I call the point.
You're not into rap music, is like kind of the gist of it, right?
It's
Mitch,
not
you
just
should-
that.
you
It's,
should-
it's a lot more.
This
than that.
is a good time to tell him about the iTunes debacle that you've experienced. Thanks when I synced my phone, when I got the update.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've never discussed that on the podcast.
Have we never discussed
No,
this?
no, we
This
never
is a
have.
great time to mention that. then.
Okay, so you know what's actually
Well done.
I may have mentioned on the air the weird thing that happened, but I
Right.
never explained.
we never
I
unraveled
never.
the mystery in
okay,
there.
so
For the Riffopolis,
so,
Riffalonians who've been waiting for the mystery, here you go. Solved, lost
a
stuff.
few months ago, I was driving. What I do is I sync just my like top 4-star, 5-star songs to my iPod, my old iPod or my old iPhone rather. So it's not it doesn't hold much, you know. So I'm like, I don't want to fill the bitch up, you know. I only got 32 gigs to work with. It's not enough for my whole library. So I'll just sync the ones that I'm digging on right now, whatever. And I'm driving around, and all of a sudden, some fucking rap song comes on, and I'm like, not Eminem, basically. Is about all I can say. It's not Eminem,
no-
and it's not Wu-Tang. That's what I
That's
know.
it.
Or Jay-Z. Those are the three that I'll
That's
stick
a
to.
safe house right there.
Yeah, in my wheelhouse. I'll even go like any NWA because I kind of grew up on
Baha
that.
Men.
So no, I don't care who let the dogs out.
You damn right you do.
No, never have.
You lie.
Just don't let them out.
You
I don't
lie.
let them run amok. You're a terrible dog owner. Anyway, so I'm very confused by this, and I was like, okay, that's weird. Thought kind of nothing else of it, and then I'm sitting at home one night, and my playlist is just going, and Drake comes on. I'd never heard Drake before in my life. I just was like, "What? This is definitely
Imagine Mitch as he
Right.
sits before you, just like in this place as you're sitting in, and just Drake comes over the fucking speaker
just
system
doing,
and just like confused,
singing it out, and then all of a
just,
sudden
like,
Drake happens. right?
confused, like just a white dude in his own home. Like I'm comfortable. I've blocked them all out, and then
I like this notion that I'm like, well, I'm safe from all the black folks out there.
Little blackity blacks
It's safe to
outside.
just sit
Not even
inside
the
and be
people, their
white.
culture.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're like, sir. Oh,
Okay.
good.
The apartment is suitably white.
Yeah,
I can
right,
get back
right.
to being white again.
I've got my everyone loves Raymond quilts out.
Quick, put on some Frasier. All the blacks are gone, and their culture is hidden from my white view.
I've got my Cheers mug that I'm drinking out of.
So what? You heard the Drake
so,
song?
So I'm like, okay, that's fucking weird, whatever. And I look at my playlist, and I'm like, I mean, it's in my playlist, even rated highly. And I was like, it's got proper tags and everything, which, I mean, I'm anal about tagging everything and make sure that like artists this is all there. And I'm like, I mean, I have some songs in my playlist. It's like some chick wanted to hear it. I'm like, fine, I'll fucking grab that for you. And
Shaggy.
you know, that'll just happen. That'll just end up in my playlist. So I was like, no, I would have known if some chick like asked for Drake. I'd have been like, yeah, whoever that is, you know, whatever. And so it confused me because I had a maybe a month, two prior to that, a girl had come over and stayed the night. It was a first date kind of thing, and I was just too drunk to do
Say
anything.
no
I was
to
just
Drake.
like, hey. No, I
Hey,
guess,
hey, babe,
I guess
put on some
apparently.
Drake. Oh, girl, you know when I
Yeah.
drink tequila, I put on whatever you want.
Oh man, I haven't heard some good Drake in a while. What's that one that's you know that one? That one, I love that one.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna throw my bra in your face right now.
Woo! So when I woke up the next morning, she'd made her half of the bed and was just sitting there on top of the
Oh,
bed.
this took a real
and
somber
I was
turn.
like, I was like, this is extremely odd. And I got up, and that's when I was like, a part of me was, she had to go. She was like, I have to go. You have to let me out of the gate. I was like, yeah, okay. And I'm thinking back to the story we told about a year ago about the guy who posted on Craigslist about he had a one night stand. He woke up and this girl was at his computer, pulled a flash drive out of his computer and shoved it up in her vagina and walked out. And he was just flabbergasted, had no time to say anything. He was just like, why? What? So that was going through my head all of a sudden.
As well it should.
What
So-
the fuck?
While
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a moment.
As well it should.
So
Incepted.
she goes to the bathroom. While she's in the bathroom, I'm quickly running around, like checking. Okay, laptop's still here, computer's still here. I'm not missing any of my little USB flash drives. I quickly check the browser history. Nothing's different. All 5 of my browsers have pristine history. I'm like,
But then,
okay. So this all comes rushing back to me when the Drake song pops up, and I'm like, did somebody just sit there and like, I'm gonna torrent some shit. So I'm checking my torrent history to go like, did they download? And I'm fucking, this is a mystery for some months. And I tell Teddy about it. I said, I don't know what. All of
and
a sudden,
every time he told me, I would like cackle in his face. He'd be like driving in the car, and I'd just be like, ah, ha, 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 we got you, baby. We in the inside. Yeah, inside job.
I'm doing
and of course, the woman in question has to be watching the podcast to
Yeah.
text me and go, "You're talking about me?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, listen,
Shout out to the dame in the
just
shadow.
saying the shit. Just saying the shit happens. Just telling you,
You
what
better not
happens."
have stole nothing. We gonna come for you.
So Teddy's laughing his tits off that my computer is possessed by rapper that just download themselves apparently.
people.
Yes, black folks and their black music.
Negroids.
Negroids is still my favorite. Although it does make me wonder because it seems like Negroids would be far more offensive than nigger.
Oh, it's definitely more offensive, bro. It's
Right?
that real technical clinicalness to it.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
That's a scientist sits down and goes, "Let me tell you about the Negroids."
Yeah, you go like,
and you're
I
like,
hate
"Oh, wait a minute, now you're getting
do
scientific."
you remember that movie Tales from the Hood?
Yes.
Do you remember the guy would call those little things nigglets?
I
Do not
remember that
They
part.
were
but
like-
I didn't see the movie. I know what you're talking about. That was, I think, wasn't
They were
wasn't
little.
Snoop Dogg in that?
No, that was Bones. But maybe he was in that one too. But he
I
had
feel like Snoop Dogg was in a run of bad hood
Yeah.
horror movies.
He was also in a bunch of.
he had one
also
where he
had his
was
own
like
porn
the-
company for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Remember that? Yeah,
Snoop's got his hand in everything, man.
yeah.
He was like the Freddy Krueger Jason.
You
in it.
can just smoke that. You don't need to just keep lighting it in your
Yeah, man,
hand. I
just-
mean,
yeah, let's go
it's
to town.
fine. We also have a riffing pipe here that
Yeah,
gives
he
you a
knows.
mustache.
He's
Right?
been
All right,
in
all
that
right,
shit.
all right.
But no, so you
Oh, right. So, I don't know how it even came to me. Just suddenly one day, I remembered that when I had given Teddy my old iPhone 4, we had to sync up his 3GS to transfer over some shit. Or I think you had the 3G, whatever it was. I had to transfer over shit from that one to the new one and blank out everything and blah blah. And it then occurred to me, that's where all this fucking music came from. It's probably when I synced it. My library was like, we don't have all these great songs. We should pull them off
You
of
know what?
Teddy's
You know what
iPhone."
I'm missing? All of the Young Jeezy. You know what I
Put
need?
put that right next to the Rob Zombie.
That's what it is. You know what I don't have enough of right now? I don't have enough of that De La Soul. I'm really confused.
Though I will say, there's a couple times that like songs that come on, sometimes black music, sometimes not. Then I'm like, this is a good track, and I'm like, good on you, Teddy, because he's got a lot of white. Last night, Florence and the Machine came on, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna download all those albums because I've been meaning to check that out.
I'm real eclectic, baby. You know
that
what I mean?
the
Twinkle,
water, something about the water.
Oh.
It's a real good song, but I like that. And then there was one. There's a black singer. Something about "Give Me a Dollar."
Oh, L.O. Black. I
That's
need
a good.
$1.
I dig that song.
Yo, that's the jam, son.
That's a
Can
good
we
song.
play a little
Good jam.
L.O. Black
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now?
I'll
The
get it.
world
I'll
need to hear
pull it
L.O.
up.
Black.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like the American anthem. I need $1. Dollars is what I need.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, hey.
Everybody's sampling that now.
Oh, bro. That's
Like in commercials,
Yeah,
I've seen
I
that.
could see that.
L.O.
over.
Black, son. And
I mean, it's the song for the new economy
You know,
right there.
I love his cover for this shit. Is like for the single is like him in a white suit by
Yeah.
a tree, and he's just like it's that image of like I'm a black dude who spent all my money on the suit.
The only
for
problem.
for the cover shoot right now. Do you know what I mean? It's
It
straight
does
up
make
on
me.
that.
It does make me wonder though, like if my dad were to hear that song, like the time that a racist old white guy would have by listening to a song about a black guy just going, "Hey man, you got a dollar? I need a dollar. I need
you
a
know what
dollar.
it
A
is?
dollar is what I need."
Dollar, dollar, that's what I need. And
Hey.
if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming, and I reap
It's good. It's a good jam. I dig it. I dig it.
well,
It's
I
very.
I dig that. I
stuff.
dig that. The hey, bro. That's that real old school vibe.
Yeah,
it's like
old
a,
school.
I
Totally.
love
shit.
it.
Yeah.
It's
Good
got
shit.
that. It's got a real.
It did have a nice soul feeling to it.
It invokes a lot of Marvin Gaye inner city blues. Yeah, it's like a updated, less somber version of it. You know what I mean? Like if you like set Marvin Gaye's inner city blues as like an up tempo, real like
With a hook that's like a
yeah,
motherfucker.
right? Like inner city blues has like no hook. Like makes me want to holler is not a hook. That is
Right.
heroin. You know what I mean? That's not.
Now, was it? It is. Is it Marvin Gaye? I think it's Marvin Gaye. I'm thinking of who was like paranoid of photos because he thought it captured a part of your soul.
I don't know if that is
Right.
Marvin Gaye. Rivopolis.
That's it's
Return to you.
It's
I know
either,
it looks
oh,
weird.
it's
that I'm
either
just like-
Marvin
I know it looks
Gaye.
like I'm speaking to like an ethereal balcony right
It might
now.
be Miles Davis. It's one of the two.
I know
I
one
wanna
of
say
them
it's Marvin
had
Gaye.
grits thrown on his back.
That's Al Green.
Okay, yeah.
That was Al Green who like had one of the women that he was with. He came home one night before he did the whole Reverend conversion, and he had been fucking around, and she was making hot grits, and she just threw all them grits on him and just burned the fuck out of him, bro.
Yeah, like third
I mean,
degree
you get
burns.
burnt. Yeah, I mean, like you get hot grits on you, son. Just get the fuck up, dude. I'm surprised. He's
It
still
could
alive.
be worse. Like the oil will like get into your skin, so it could be even worse than an actual flame. You know?
You can't just get grits out. I mean, you can't like scrape grits off you.
Oh, that
That's a
would hurt.
terrible burn. And a whole pot. Like you don't make a few grits.
Right.
That's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
no one's like I'm gonna make
It's
a handful
running
of grits.
down your back.
Right? No one's like I'm gonna make a handful of grits. You like I'm gonna find the biggest fucking pot in the house. Just make grits for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you got that shit thrown at you, oh my god.
See, I grew up in North Carolina. And
North Kakalaki.
Kakalaki.
Petey Pop.
Take your
Ooh.
shirt off. You
Who
know what
am
to
I,
do with it.
motherfucker?
idea
You
what's
know
going
what
on.
What you know about being black? Who am I? Petey Pop, motherfucker.
Best to get down.
I mean, literally, I don't think
What
I've
just
ever
happened?
felt
You-
more white
you
in all of
got-
my life
you
than this
just
episode.
got
I mean,
a whole ink blot of black in your face the last 55 seconds.
looks like a butterfly. That's what
You
you're
didn't see
supposed
the
to always
tag
guess
team.
on the
You
ink
didn't see
blot
the
test.
tag team. We just hit you with the Petey Pop raise up. You ain't know nothing
Yeah.
about that. Come on, man.
they thought it was 2001 in this motherfucker.
What, son? Holla at him. Oh my god, I can't handle it.
I'm good on that.
I had a friend who one time had Petey Pablo ask him where the restroom was at a nightclub.
Oh, that's a person.
Yeah. You didn't know Petey Pablo was a person?
Listen, I don't know anything that you guys are saying.
You
For like
He's
for
the-
like a minute there, I was
he's
just
like
like,
the
I hope
only-
this conversation gets over quickly because I have
Yeah, how
no
many-
idea what's going
He's the
on.
only rapper to like get real big out of North Carolina.
Oh yeah, North Carolina. You have any other like? There's no other like regional.
Yeah, OG&B's pretty big.
I don't know if I know that one.
That's my substitute teacher's son's band.
Oh yeah,
No, I'm kidding, but I think they're all in
That's
jail
great.
right now.
Oh well, that probably
Yeah,
that's
North
probably big in the
Carolina.
hood circuit.
I don't really.
I don't think no one else
yeah.
from North Carolina raised up like that.
Was he the one that was something that was like North Carolina and girls that take the top off? or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like-
Come
No.
on and raise up. Take your shirt off.
spin it around your head, spin it like a helicopter.
That got me pussy once. So
Now, pray tell how you and P. Pablo intersected.
well, somebody had talked. Now it's coming back to me that the North Carolina something about the shirts.
Did you black out?
I just remember I was somewhere and a
shameful
girl was
incident
like,
of a rap
girl
song
was
leading to
rapping
you?
along with this North Carolina thing and raised his shirt up, and I said South Carolina, and she just looked at me funny, and I was like, well, what if North Carolina's shirt up, then South Carolina's pants down? And she's like, oh, I guess so.
You took your
Oh
pants
my
down?
god,
No, she did.
that's a really good take on that song.
That's what I'm saying.
I
So I
never
was like, right?
Wait a minute,
So I
hold
was
on a
like,
second.
so I would go
You
up to her and I would
reappropriated
say,
the Civil War
I would go up to
for a
her
P.D. Pablo joint?
and I would say,
What?
North Carolina, and she'd go, woo, and I'd be like, South Carolina, and pussy. So it was,
Yeah, the Confederacy's pussy.
okay, yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute. So that actually worked for you?
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
What did you hook up with her?
I mean,
guess?
listen, we don't need to get into all the details. I'm
Sure.
just telling you, the North
You-
Carolina shirt up, South Carolina pants down.
For the record, she did not do the North Carolina part right at all. You're supposed to spin around her head like a helicopter.
That's what I'm hearing in the chat. They're
Yeah.
saying twist it like a helicopter, know your lyrics.
Right?
I don't
Yeah.
know these
Yo,
lyrics.
Petey Power like North
All I heard
Carolina. Come on and raise up.
You know how I
Take
work.
your shirt off.
I heard North Carolina and
Twisted
saw
around your
titties.
hand,
That's all I need to
spin
know.
it like a helicopter.
I don't know the
Lift
details.
it to your neck.
I
Titties
see-
out like a helicopter. That's not what he wrote in the studio after he smoked a blunt. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm just telling you, I heard North Carolina, and then
It's poor.
and then it was
Hey,
titties.
she's got a very
All
poor North
So
Carolina.
I thought to myself,
I have a native.
oh, is
He
that
can
like
testify
how
to
you
that.
like, hey, North Carolina? So
He
I was,
cannot speak for South
all
Carolina.
right, I'm just
Fuck South Carolina.
South Kakalaki.
Oh, how do
as it
you
were.
feel about South? Can we really settle it? So you're North Carolina,
No,
right?
it's like exactly
Are
the same.
you so born and raised in North Carolina? Or
I
what?
was born in Portland, Oregon,
Okay,
and
P-Town, forgot about P-Town.
my parents got a divorce, so I was one of those kids that lived. I went to school in North Carolina and spent the summers in Oregon.
Oh, so you're bi-coastal.
Bi-coastal, yeah, and I
You're
think
you're real purple American.
Oh,
I
so
think
like
it
like
helped
oh God, what is it? I always forget the fucking movie. The Departed.
Oh yeah.
what
Where
He's
where
like, you spent
Leo
your-
DiCaprio had to like go from he was a
He's
Southie
like,
and he
oh,
was
yeah,
outside-
you were
outside.
dropping your Oz and Queenie or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know the whole
I
quote,
don't
but
know.
yeah,
Yeah, something like
I
that,
don't
yeah.
know much about Chicago.
yeah, my life
This
was
is what
like
comes
that.
from like growing up in a place with no culture. Is like everybody that comes from a place with culture. I'm like,
Well, I
average.
mean, they have cultures.
it's
They're just
two
different,
cultures.
no,
That's
but what I'm
it is.
I'm saying, like I came from Phoenix, where everybody's just white and boring, and so there's
I mean,
not
that's a
like there's
culture,
not like
bro.
a
That's-
thing,
that's still a
though. You know?
culture.
All right,
White and boring is a culture.
touche.
David
That's
Brooks
pretty
made a career
much
out of it.
pretty much what the Northwest is like. I mean, add like rain and
I lived in
trees.
Seattle for a year. I'm aware.
Yeah,
It's fair.
it's Seattle and Portland. It's all the same. You know.
Yeah.
So which,
South Carolina, North Carolina. It's all.
so
the
which,
same.
what do you, if you had to plant your flag, is like, this is me, this is where I'm.
Probably Portland because that's where I've spent the past like 5 years, and
It seems more your style.
yeah. I mean, people always
Chilling beards,
People
beards, hoodies, rain. I get
Exactly.
it. Kinda like-
Beards, hoodies, rain.
fucking
Is that what Portland equals? Beards, hoodies, and rain?
yeah.
pretty
yeah.
fucking
We're
close.
gonna- we're
Yeah,
gonna put that
add
on the
weed
board.
to that.
Seattle is beards, hoodies, rain, and heroin.
Well, now you've just taken it very serious.
Oh, but Portland's got heroin too.
Wait a minute.
Well, we got heroin.
You guys have mostly shrooms. You guys were the shrooms. Seattle was the heroin.
No, it's fuck. Elliott Smith used to fucking pull tricks on Powell. You know, like he was a heroin kid. I mean,
Elliott
there's a
Smith.
really big street kid population.
Man, that dude fucking. Did we ever figure out exactly?
I thought that was
what-
an Indian. For a second.
Yeah, for a second, your Elliott Smith really did sound like a haunted burial ground.
Needle in the
Were you an Elliott Smith fan?
I love him.
Yeah, I got it.
I love him. He brightens my day.
I love sitting around wanting to kill myself.
So
is
we
what
ever
I
figure
leave.
out officially what happened to him? Was it suicide or was he stabbed in the heart by the crazy?
I was just
thought he
talking to someone
didn't
about this.
he
the other
stabbed
day.
himself in the
I
heart
feel
with
like
a
it was
knife.
murky. I feel like it
But
was
yeah,
murky.
like how to break your chest plate,
I mean, like to stab yourself in the heart. That's a fucking intense way to go out. Bro.
and it was twice.
Yeah.
he was stabbed in the. I was just talking to
Let's
someone
consult
about this the other day.
Wikipedia.
I mean, that's an intense way to go out, man.
It's samurai style.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
And they didn't even go to the.
No,
they didn't
did.
go up.
They went stomach.
right. I'm just
Seppuku.
saying the
But
whole.
I mean, stabbing the heart. I mean, that's not
Seppuku.
easy, dude.
right.
Twice?
Twice.
Oh my, Elliott Smith either is like the worst marksman of all time or had the greatest nerves of all time.
Right. Yeah. Here,
Said that,
both
well,
huge-
Wikipedia just has that the autopsy evidence was inconclusive as to whether the wounds were self-inflicted. 2 stab wounds to the chest.
I feel like
Wow.
that is basically murder, son.
No, that I was talking to someone about this the other night. They said the cops came in to survey the crime scene. Within an hour, they had the scene closed, and because they thought he was just some junkie.
Right.
So the next day, they go, "Yeah, you know that guy you guys found? He's a fucking Grammy Award winner, like a huge rock star." And then they kind of backtracked and were like, "Oh, we didn't really like they."
Don't give a fuck.
They
man.
didn't give a
Shoddy-
fuck. Yeah,
shoddy
some
police work,
fucking
bro.
junkie in Hollywood found in a piece of shit hotel, like
Right,
or
no shit.
apartment. I guess it was his apartment. But
Right.
Says that at the time of the stabbing, he was at his Lemoyne Street home in Echo Park, California, where he lived with his girlfriend, Jennifer Chiba. According to Chiba, the two were arguing and she locked herself in the bathroom to take a shower. Chiba heard him scream and upon opening the door saw Smith standing with a knife in his chest. She pulled the knife out, after which he collapsed and she called
Liar, murderer. She fucking killed him. It's OJ shit, man.
I'm just saying, bro. You stab yourself twice in the heart. Come on, B.
In the shower,
Yo,
I just slipped on the soap.
This is
And
one of those times that inconclusive is basically like, nah, you kind of did that shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Mitch, you ain't gonna want to go stab yourself in the heart twice. Twice? If I stab myself in the heart once,
You
I was
immediately
like,
go, oh, bad idea.
right?
I'm gonna just try
I pull
again.
it out. I'm like, oh my god, that was like, oh wow.
yeah.
Still here? I'm gonna do it again. Do it again.
Once it's enough. You know how this shit
happen.
goes.
It's hard to break your
And she
chest
go, what?
straight.
She heard him scream twice?
She
Or
just
once?
heard him screaming.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not one big scream between two stabs to the heart.
It just said heard him screaming. There's no definition
You
on
lied. Jennifer
I don't
Chiba,
think
you
you can
lied.
just
You lied.
scream like through two stabs. You'd probably like ah ah ah. You know,
I'm
a lot
just
of
saying, I'm just saying.
probably
I'm just
multiple
mad
screams.
skeptical,
but,
son.
You know,
Mad skeptical, bro.
you have rights to be skeptical on that, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I tell you,
Can't speculate.
crossroads.
It would be irresponsible to speculate.
irresponsible to speculate or irresponsible not to speculate.
Do you think Kurt Cobain killed himself, or do you think he was
I
murdered?
think by this point, yeah. I think
He killed himself?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there was a lot of shady shit, but you know, it's
he
you
was,
get around, you get enough in your life, you hear enough weird conspiracy theories that eventually you just have to go like, listen.
Sometimes people just
Sometimes crazy shit happens that seems beyond the realm of possibility, or even within the realm, but just slightly unlikely or whatever. And sometimes people benefit or profit from those events, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the thing happened the way that it most would benefit the person at the end. 9/11 comes to mind. You know what I mean? There's people that are convinced and oh, it's such a conspiracy and all this stuff, when there's like a mountain of evidence that it wouldn't be. And yet they're like, well, yes, but the government, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, I guess they benefited because they got to go to Iraq and spend a lot of money. I mean, if that's the end goal, yeah, okay, then I guess they, quote unquote, benefited in a sense. But regardless of which way it went, that was going to be the way it's going to go. Like, you know, if we didn't all wake up on 9/12 and go, you know what? Bygones are bygones. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody woke up at 9/12 going, we got to get those motherfuckers. And,
That's
you know,
true.
we can all pretend we weren't in that mood, but we all were in that fucking mood.
I was, and I'm a person that believes 9/11 was an inside job.
Oh, man.
I believe that shit, and you know, I
That's
kind
too
of
much
believe
weed
it.
is what it is.
Maybe
Way
it
too
is.
much weed.
It's like I don't care. Like ultimately, like what? It's just what do I think? What do I think
Is
really
it just
happened?
because it's more interesting to think that it was an inside
I watched
job?
Zeitgeist. And
That's the
fucking
problem.
I was waiting for which one of the motherfuckers you
Now,
were
to
going
be-
to cite.
here's the thing.
Damn, Richard. Damn, I thought. Oh.
But like I don't live by it. But like it's so.
You about
Here's
to die
the thing.
by
Here's
it.
the thing. Here's the thing. Zeitgeist is actually a really, really good documentary, but then they, for no reason whatsoever, in the middle of it, pulled in from Small Change. They didn't make their own. They just pulled in chunks from
Change.
Small Change, loose change, whatever.
But it should be
Small
called
change,
Small
loose change,
Change.
yeah. Small-minded change. And the guy who made it, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, something like that. And he was like, yeah, that's not in there anymore. And he's like, I took it. It felt shoehorned. It wasn't even our stuff. There's a lot of questions. I'm not even concerned about it. Like, you know, he's dropped the whole thing. He's like, whatever. But the overall message of Zeitgeist, he's like, is more important than dividing people on some weird conspiracy theory that, frankly, you could go either way on. You know what I mean? And so he's even taken that out, which is good because Zeitgeist, the first half hour or so is incredibly compelling and a really, really good documentary. But shit change, thrown at your head movie, no.
I watched it with my roommate, this girl I was living with off Craigslist. I didn't really know her, and I was like, "Hey, check out this movie." And we watched it, and that night she came home and she goes, she was weird as fuck. She goes, "I got my social security number tattooed on my wrist," and I was like, "Okay, cool."
Wow. Wait, what? That's how she reacted?
She was a really like.
She didn't have it barcoded
You-
or anything. She just like had the fucking number.
Two things you don't want to give the paranoid schizophrenics: acid and zeitgeist. Those are the two things you
she
don't
was
want to
Wait,
give.
totally-
what was her
Yeah.
reason?
I don't. She never even like. I mean,
She
it
never
had.
came, like I got to touch.
It
good
had
night.
to be because we watched Zeitgeist.
It
Like,
definitely, yeah.
I
I would
I
definitely
was
say
like
so.
in the back of my mind.
I mean,
I'm like,
certainly, but what about?
Have
that?
you seen
But
the
she
movie?
didn't
I mean, I've
say-
seen portions of it, but I'm not.
I will
seeing
say this: now that they've taken out the loose change shit, and even if they haven't, even if the one you find has that, skip the loose change shit. You can skip the 20 minutes they go over it. The
Yeah.
rest of it is actually it's not conspiratorial. It's like basically what I found fascinating about it is because the beginning, like the first half hour, is an overview of religion in general and how the Bible in a way relates to all these other religions and the things they sort of stole from various religions. Where they were talking about the sun worships and stuff like this, and they're like, Jesus was the sun, the light, the way. There was 20 other religions that did the same thing, blah, blah, blah. And even if you go, well, I got to do my own research and whatever have you, it fits a very nice puzzle, very, very cleanly.
it makes sense.
And insofar as what, again, when you got nothing else to worship, you worship the thing that fucking makes the plants grow and brings light into the day. Why wouldn't you worship the sun? It makes perfect sense. Even George Carlin worshiped the sun. And so it makes sense, even if maybe not all the facts are accurate. And I've done enough research to go, well, he's 95% of the way there, if not 100%. I haven't done all the research, but enough of it to where I was like, oh, yeah, it all checks out. It all makes sense. And in that regard, when you watch it in the sense that basically almost like as if religion was just a means to control the people. And that's sort of the way that I take it is like, I think that in a lot of ways, the way that Christianity came to be and became so popular and stuff like that was, say, way back in the day, if you're the king and you want the peasants to pay more taxes and shit, you can't knock down 3,000 doors necessarily. You don't have all the troops to do that. And you can't just go, oh, we'll arrest you because, again, there's too many people. If they stand up as one, you're fucked. So you have to be like, well, I can't put security cameras in their homes or anything else like that. I know. What if there's just a guy like hanging out that they can't even see, just watching them all the time, just going, listen, you do this, you're fucked. You're fucked, totally fucked for life, for eternity. Like when you die, you're fucked. So you got to spend a lot of time right here on Earth being real good to people and paying taxes and variety of things that the king would decree. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's.
Yeah.
And so, in a sense, it's that eye in the sky, that security camera. And if you're paranoid, they're like, oh, fuck. Well, we could get away with what we're doing right here. We could rape this girl in an alley, but the fucking guy is watching us, and we're gonna have to account for this at some point. When we do our, afterlife taxes, we'll have to write this off. So we better not rape this girl in the alleyway. And that's kind of the beginnings of civilization. And I would give religion credit for that. That's fine. Because I think that we needed it as a society, as a culture back then. People are just running around going, I'll do whatever I want. But like you go, no, you can't. Why? Because there's a guy watching. You can't see him yet. You'll meet him when you're dead, and you're gonna be in trouble for all this stuff.
So basically, what you're saying is that you are arguing for religion as some sort of civilization bridge between, I don't want to say antiquity necessarily, but necessarily early civilization. Early civilization, antiquity to, I would suppose, modern times now.
Yeah, that's why I think we
21st
don't.
century.
I think we don't need it.
So
we don't need
you're
it
saying
anymore.
it was based essentially until we reach a place as a species to have the tools and capacity to fully begin to understand and appreciate our own existence. This other thing filled in the gaps. Is that what you're arguing for?
More of the morality, not so much existence. I'm saying, like, I think that for the most part, we as a modern, we as a
morality
modern
and existence, though, let's.
Well,
Richard,
what
when
I'm
you say,
saying is-
those two things kind of go hand in hand, though, a little bit, though, right? Your own morality and your existence in terms of.
I was gonna think more like
You son of a bitch. What I'm saying is that in
That's how we do it on the islands.
in this modern day, we can generally agree that it's a bad thing.
I mean,
to
are
just-
you atheist?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you religious?
I guess I'm more. I say I fall more agnostic, I suppose, if anything.
It's fair.
Were you raised?
I was raised. I guess my parents are both Christian, although my dad always had a very big influence from Carl Jung, so Jungian philosophy.
Yeah.
And a lot of East, like a lot
I
of.
thought it was Young. Is it?
Is it Young? Is it Young? I'm not sure. I always am not sure.
I've heard of.
Again.
All good. I know it's not Jung.
Riffopoulos
I know that
also,
much.
I'm not
Despite
sure
its
if it's Jung or
spelling.
Young. But he's a big fan of his, so I had a lot of that influence as well from my dad.
Good
so-
influence to have.
So there was always a balance, I guess, between the sort of religion and spirituality, or like religion both as
But
organized.
they weren't
and
shoving it down your throat.
no. It was
like-
never never shoved down. Although after my dad died, my mom and the rest of my family are very religion heavy. So it did over the years become very much so religion shoved in my face. And one of
Oh,
those
that's
things.
weird. Later in life, it
Yeah,
becomes.
well, it was one of those things where as you pull away from people,
That makes
and
sense,
you
yeah.
try to confront things that are going on. Like if you have a dysfunctional unit and you try to be the entity that pulls away from them, and you're like, you guys are really dysfunctional. We have a lot of things we need to talk about if we're going to actually function in a cohesive fashion. And they respond by just being like, you need to pray. You just need to pray. You know what I mean?
Just to make it today.
Right.
hey.
Yeah.
Well done.
There's a
Well
30-year-old
done.
black
Hey,
reference
good.
for you. What's
Good.
up,
Well
kids?
played. We'll take a drink for that one.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. Well, I will say this is that's perfectly
believe you dropped
that's
fucking
perfectly
hammer.
in line with this discussion, because then wouldn't you say that they were basically trying to go, well, we gotta show him. They're sort of forcing amorality on you by using religion as a crutch.
It's I don't know if you've ever encountered
You know what I'm
this thing,
saying?
but like, have you ever been in a situation where you've like come to somebody, you're like, listen, this is what's going on. I would appreciate it if you maybe gave me some help, and they're like, well, I'm not gonna help, but I'll pray. You know what I mean? Have you ever had that happen
I
before?
have.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating, especially if it's really serious, because it's basically like they're saying like, well, listen, like I care, but fuck you. You know what I mean? Like I don't care enough to actually do the thing that would require me to invest physical time. Because it's like, you could pray, that's real cool. Like I appreciate that. But,
Listen,
like,
man, I'm trying to get this couch up these stairs. Oh shit, I can't. I hope I'm gonna cross my fingers that you don't break your back.
Right.
But I'm not
I'm
carrying
at
a
a- I'm
fucking
at a-
couch, but I'll cross my fingers for
yeah,
you.
like I'm at a communicative impasse with this person. I need you to come in as a third party. No, I'm gonna pray. I will pray for you though. I will hope the two of you can somehow
Yeah.
get around each other's.
I'm gonna buy some lottery tickets.
Right. Yeah, like
I
some
just got a lucky
incense.
rabbit's foot up here. I'll just
Yeah.
rub this shit all day
I'm gonna
long.
put on the 700 Club.
Right,
know?
right.
I was raised in the very like Southern Baptist.
Okay.
Like it was fucking
You
crazy.
took that up there with you to Portland?
No. Like, I mean,
Yeah, he don't belong up there. No, he's like
part of my family was
a
very.
sign outside of Portland. No gods.
Yeah, dude. I
Wiccans,
kind of
Wiccans are allowed, but no,
Yeah.
no other gods.
naked
are-
pagan Sunday. That's
Yeah,
all we
yeah,
have.
yeah.
That's
It's.
good.
I didn't like that though. I hated how no one believed it. Like I don't even know. Sometimes I believe in God. Sometimes I
Yeah.
don't.
So where do you fall? So are you?
It was one of those things where it was like Southern Baptist. Like I used to see people like dancing with snakes and
You
shit.
saw the
like,
real holy.
blah, blah,
You
blah,
saw
blah, blah.
snake roller,
Nice, nice.
snake revival, like snake roller.
Oh
holy
yeah,
roller,
yeah. Like
Speaking in
revival
tongues
shit.
and all that.
speaking in
Nice.
tongues. I kind of went to a
Snake
bunch of
eaters.
different churches. I'd go to those churches like
Right.
with my friends and literally trip out with my friends. Like, look at that guy! Like this is fucking
The
crazy.
tent revivals, right?
It was
Where-
an
where what?
actual like church. But,
Okay, like actual
it was
church.
that mentality.
But it's that
totally.
yeah, same
absolutely
Same kind of thing.
like the old
Leap
Southern.
of faith, Steve Martin.
Yeah. The
Dude with the nice suit.
dancing
going
is a
around.
lot of dancing. You know, it's a lot of like
It's a
Well, I don't
spectac-
trust
it's a
dancing.
spectacle.
holy
don't
holy
trust dancing.
spirits. You know,
Yeah.
people think they. It's crazy the like to like make someone convince someone to the point where they're physically like
Collapse to the ground.
shaking and fucking eyes rolling. And these are like kids I went to high school with would be like tripping out. Like, I mean, I wouldn't hang out with them, but I knew them. You know?
I sold them weed, but I mean, I had to pay out the Jamaicans. What do you-
You don't want to be in debt to them Jamaicans, that's for sure.
But then I started going to a Catholic church in like 9th grade, and
It was also down south.
It
or-
was down south. Yeah, it was down south, and but it was way more like traditional Catholic. Even that, their rituals are fucking bizarre. But I kind of took every amount of Christianity I could in the South. My great grandfather was a preacher, and he was
Oh, wow.
he was really well known throughout our. I lived in a little town, and he was like really well known and
Yeah.
pretty.
as the preacher man is wont to be.
Yeah, he was a great guy, always nothing but always positive and nice, and one of those people where I'm like, God, I'll never be like that, how in the fuck is he like that?
Nice.
Always happy,
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
nice
Yeah.
and positive.
Oh.
And it was even when I was younger, I was always like, God, I'll never.
Well, it's easy to be happy with the Lord Jesus.
That is-
Yeah. But he was never like
That's-
really
yeah.
cramming it down. He
Right,
never.
right.
My mom didn't make us go to church because she was like kind of the rebel of the family, and she was
So
like, "Go to
who-
church if you want. Don't
Which
go
of
to
the
church."
so was your dad the more religious?
My
of
dad
your-
was totally not religious at all. We had a church across the street that he'd take us to sometimes because it was across the street.
Right.
But
Well, which one lived in Portland?
my dad lived in Portland.
So how'd you
Okay.
end up with as much religion then? If both of your parents are kind of apathetic to
Dude,
it?
it was more like my own personal like curiosity for it.
Seeking it out.
Seeking it out. And I was religious when I was a kid. I was like, I believed
Were you more
wholehearted.
like organized religion? What denomination would you have been?
I don't know if I
You
could.
and-
I'm Christian. I'd say Christian.
Non-denominational, basically.
Yeah, non-denominational.
So I feel like it's where you've got to be, basically. If you I
No,
mean,
non-denominational.
It's
would be like
semantics,
if
you
you
know.
were no. I mean,
Christian,
I mean, you had a Christian. I think what you were saying, like you still question if there's a God and stuff like that. I think there's that part of the brain because that's what fucks with you. You get it as a child, and it's like it's still for all of the most logical parts of my brain that that want to beat me over the head that like there's just absolutely no way there's a God to sit down and do calculations on it if I have to, and like I can convince myself all day long, but there's still a part of me that's like if I'm fucking alone, I couldn't curse at the sky. Like I couldn't point and be like, "Hey, fuck you, God." Like I'd
Right.
still feel weird about that. And I have I'm like it's got to be just the indoctrination of the fact that as a child it was like, use the Lord's name in vain, and it's
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of like religious. Like we go to church on Sundays, we get in our Sunday best, we put on suits.
I mean,
and
you
we go to
watch
fucking church.
The Simpsons believing. There's like a God in Simpsons. It's like our culture like
Right,
believes there's some kind of God or something in most like.
Yeah. And I mean, growing up in Phoenix, when you don't, was again no culture, and in fact almost a rejection of anybody's culture. It's that thing where the amount of times I remember as a kid that growing up, where it was somebody like my sister had a Jewish friend, which is something I wouldn't even think about today. Like I don't know how many Jewish friends I have. Maybe quite a lot, maybe not so many. I have it just doesn't even come
Right,
up.
yeah.
But like,
26.
it was a thing. keep them on a piece of paper. Got them all separated.
Scrapbook.
So we got
Bookmark. By date.
three
bar, and bar
Episcopalians,
mitzvah.
2 Southern Baptists,
Pictures of
partridge
all
in a pear tree.
yarmulkes on every page.
But it was that thing where and you hear this and right around Christmas, of course, it's this like, well, yeah, you're Jewish, but it's Christmas, and you're like
Right.
thinking now, I'm like,
Why
that's
don't you have a
terribly
tree,
offensive,
freak?
but
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, back then you were like, whatever, they for whatever reason fucking hate fun or something, I don't know.
Freedom.
And
Think of what you're looking for.
so they seemed more uptight than the Christians because they rejected
intense, bro.
Christmas.
It's
you know?
so it's weird.
Even
how
though like it should be called Restmas and everybody should celebrate it.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. But go ahead.
it's weird how you can't you don't hear a lot of people making fun of like Jews. Like.
Well, certainly not out here.
I-
It's run by the Jews.
I'm just saying, like to go like Christianity. That's so dumb. But like when you make fun of a Hasidic Jew for like having curls and like like
That is a good point.
Right, the
actually.
beard and the walking.
what
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like
gotta-
this guy looks like a fucking idiot, huh, guys? And like
Yeah.
no, that's racist. That way you just
Yeah,
did.
it does have an added layer. Of
I think
cruelty,
because
I
it's
do
like
feel
more than it's like a culture. Because then you're like, I think that if it were just like you just hopped into Judaism and hopped out like you do
You know,
Christianity.
I feel like it's a difference between like if it's like if you were the similar thing I can feel like based on your example is if you had someone who was just like wearing a cross You know, you're like, hey, look at this fucking clown with this cross on that his savior died on. What a dick.
Right.
You know, I feel like that would you would have to be that level of cruelty where it's like you've crossed the line to being respectfully disagreeing with like I get it, but like that's not what I believe versus just being like no fuck you. You know,
Also,
it's
the
like
Jews-
you're growing your hair
I've-
out for like 7 years because that's what your book says.
I've
What
never
a fucking
had a-
dick.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I've never had a Hasidic Jew knock on my door
That's true. And
and talk about anything. Have you gone to temple today? Would you like to come to temple? Like, I've
Bro, I
never
gotta
had that happen.
Run them motherfuckers off with broomsticks every Saturday. So I'm like, ain't you supposed to be at the temple right now? Y'all blasphemous.
But what you
Blasphemous.
saying? We got bagels. We got. Come on down.
You ain't got no locks. You's a fraud.
When was the last time you called You should call your mother. That's never happened for onesies, I think. And also, not a lot of Jews raping boys.
that's true.
You know, I
and
mean, that
like
you
the
hear about,
whole
you know?
conservative Christian is like their whole stereotype is like racist, like homophobic.
Right. There's a
where
lot
the
of
Jews are
reasons.
way more
Pray the gay
liberal.
way,
And
pray the
Yeah,
gay
yeah.
way.
maybe
Well,
that's a leeway.
I
to
mean,
give.
there is. I mean, there is a lot
Just
of
going on mass stereotypes here. This is.
fair.
Yeah.
I don't want like a chat room blown up with. Well, listen, I'm a Jew and I hate blacks. Like I get it.
I do. If we're trying to focus on a more mainstream American culture,
Yeah, that's what I'm
you're
saying.
saying the evangelical. We were talking about the Michelle Bachmans and her husband and their reparative therapy for gay, that kind of thing
Right.
doesn't.
It is
really-
weird that there's no
it's
like
certainly-
Jewish politicians
Right.
running for president kind of thing. You know.
Well, I mean, it's,
That is strange.
Well, it's
I mean, not
noteworthy.
one.
Well,
you
I mean,
know?
there are there, but like and the most prominent, I don't know about most prominent, but I mean, there are no, I guess, Jewish politicians running for president, but there's certainly prominent Jewish politicians. Chuck Schumer is a senator. He's like one of the top Democrats. Eric Cantor is the Republican. He's Jewish, but like that's a thing that I feel like most people don't even realize that Eric Cantor is like, the number.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
He's the number 2 of the Republican House.
I was gonna
and
say
he
because
is
Republicans
Jewish.
and Jews.
Right.
I
I
feel
mean,
like,
but that dude
Yeah.
is the fucking worst. But this guy was.
That's why I'm surprised.
But I
he's
mean,
Jew.
but again, though, it goes back to that weird thing where like evangelical Christians support Israel not because they give a shit about the Jewish people or the Palestinians that are over there, but more because they need a certain policy to happen to ensure that the end times occur and the rapture happens. You know? And that like their foreign policy is driven by the Bible, and that's a weird thing to like. Yeah, no, I support you only because I want you annihilated, and then we could really have some fun.
See, this is the thing that I.
But
this
it's
is
a weird. It's weird. It's a weird kind of support, man. It's fucking weird.
Well, this is the thing that always kind of confuses me when it comes to like a lot of religions, and certainly when it comes to all that end times shit and anything that Michelle Bachman's cunthead spews
I hope Revopolis
forth,
is
like
talking
the
about
fucking-
Kirk Cameron right now.
They're talking about Lieberman, actually. They're talking about
Fuck
Jewish.
Joe Lieberman. Fuck that motherfucker. You see
Yeah.
Joe Lieberman in the street, you tell him that I said fuck that motherfucker.
that
okay?
droopy dog motherfucker. Fuck him.
You tell that motherfucker I said Connecticut said go fuck yourself. You better go settle in with some lobbyist job somewhere. You better hope we don't find your ass and run you out of town. Ton Feather, your bitch made ass. Now run, tell that.
I'm going down.
Yeah, it was. They just because it was a Jewish person.
Why to tell that to somebody? Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to
So
the
that's
restroom.
that's
on
all
that
there is to it. But I do.
And
There is a
reaction on my part. I
there's an overwhelming. Yeah, you are prone to doing that.
Hey,
that's
fuck
okay.
all y'all.
There is a part of me that's like that gets down to like again on the one hand when it comes to like a lot of religious stuff and part of what zeitgeist I think whether intentionally or otherwise and I told this to my religious friends, my problem with believing in God or Christianity or anything like this is that we don't need that anymore. That was it worked for what it was trying to accomplish, was bringing morality to the masses that had none. It worked really well for that back then. But now I feel it's a hindrance more than anything. And it bothers me because it gets in the way of, hard fucking science. It bothers me that we're having a debate about evolution still.
Yeah.
That women can't get abortions because like they think they don't understand how science works with cells and
Yeah.
reproducing and fetuses and things like that shit now you're getting in the way of progress and we don't need it anymore. And so then there's a part of me that goes, okay, in an enlightened time and things like this, how many people truly in their heart of hearts believe way deep down inside exactly what it is they're saying versus how many sort of put on an air of a deep, deep, deep belief because of some sort of like their upbringing,
Yeah,
their
it's
their
tradition.
local culture is a big one. Perfect example. You're talking about like the snake handling and the dancing and the speaking in tongues and people like they get hit with a jacket and oh my god I'm saved and they fall down if a man touches them on the head.
Healed.
Yeah, and it's a thing where if you were to sit down and try to have like a logical conversation with any one of those people who got touched on the head and fell back and tried to bring like logic to it, there would be like their hard drive would need to reboot. Like they would be like oh man you're asking me stuff. They were wrapped up in the moment. It's an exciting, the group, and it's like you just go with it. You see
Yeah.
it enough, and you're kind of like, yeah, why the fuck not? I'm gonna dance like a crazy person. I'm gonna talk in tongues. I'm gonna fall down on the floor. All this different shit because that's just the mood in the room. That's group think,
I
and you
wish
lose that
we could
individuality.
pull up, I wish this one of the moments we could like pull up one of those testimonial interviews from those people because like the way that you're describing it is so. I've heard those descriptions. I know you've heard those descriptions too, Richard, where they talk about it, and it's not like they are like
Real
"Wait,
quick,
what's going on?
I am gonna drink a beer.
Oh shit! This is big. He never does this. He's out of his. He's out of his.
For the
hard
last
liquor.
2 years on New Year's Eve, I have made a New Year's resolution to drink 12 beers throughout the year. In those 2 years, this is my first beer.
Holy shit! For
You're in privileged territory.
wow, man.
God, this
Let me,
smells like
uh,
shit.
This one's.
This
This
is,
one.
yeah.
Rivopolis, put your drinks in there. Yeah.
This bud's for all that you
This-
do.
this
I
bud's
didn't
for
mean to
you.
cut you off. You were
No.
talking about the testimonials of the people who've been through this stuff.
But I wish we could grab one of those testimonials because when you hear those people describe those healing experience or those revival experience, and they talk about whatever spirit or energy or force took them over, and you see the conviction on their face,
Absolutely.
and in their eyes, it's just such a weird. It's a weird juxtaposition between not necessarily the skepticism that you're voicing versus what internally they must be feeling. Do you know?
But I think that's the thing is like put on the defensive, those people are going to be like, no, I totally. And maybe they could even convince themselves. But I think that,
It's
there's so much pressure
It's
in
like
those,
those-
in like, maybe not the South per se, but just any sort of like Bible banging area. If there's a local culture, sorry, I didn't know that was hilarious.
I don't know.
If
where
there's a
I
local,
don't know where a Bible banging area is, bro. I don't
Alabama
know.
comes to
I don't
mind.
know. I
You've
don't
never
think
heard of
that's-
Bible bangers?
I don't know about Bible bangers, bro. That's not the right.
You've
term.
heard of this. Anyway, whatever. What if there's a?
What? That is not a.
In fact, it doesn't even matter if it's a religious or
that is
not.
not a
Let's even take religious out of this.
With arms wide open.
What I'm saying, in any sort of local culture, the
Fair.
pressure of a local culture, I think, will fuck you up immensely as far as your thought process, as far as like what you think is right and wrong, as far as even what you believe. And I think that social pressure is so high, but they probably wouldn't want to admit it. But I think that if you were to just take any one of those people out of that situation kind of long enough and put them into a different culture where everybody's like, that's kind of weird that you did that actually, and let's have a talk, but in a not a like you're a fucking weirdo, but sort of like that is, let's be honest, that's kind of strange. And they knew, let's say, nobody back home would ever find out about this conversation or something like that. You take them
Right.
completely isolated. I think you'd find that they'd be like, hey, you know what? Now that you mention it, is kind of weird. Perfect example. We were talking when we had Jesse Case on. And Jesse Case was talking about how when he was in his teens, I believe it was, like 12 years old or something like that, he would go to these kids' house and there would just be a porno on and then like a huge sectional couch and 12-year-olds just, jacking it underneath a
That's
blanket.
12-year-olds, by the way.
That
yeah.
is fucking crazy.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's
So,
crazy.
but he's like, I honestly, it didn't seem weird at the time.
Sure.
But now in retrospect, looking back, like that's fucking strange. That's a total of 144 years of spanking it, all in one
I'm
room,
trying to think if
jacking it.
If you were 12 and
Smacking
you
it
saw
smack.
that, wouldn't you? I
I
think
mean, I
I'd
would've
be
fr-
like,
No,
what
we
the
talked
fuck
about
are
it
you
at the
guys
time. Was
doing?
like, you know what? In the moment, you probably would just kind of go,
Well, you know what it is,
I'm not
too?
going to join in, but like, whatever, you guys
You're
are
right.
doing
Here's,
that.
here's the other thing that I think is it's comparatively based on what you're talking of. Yeah, that's it. Look at that delicious Budweiser face.
Doesn't it taste
You were
good?
talking about a testimonial. Look at that diesel go down smooth. Delicious.
Oh God, I miss rum.
What I was. That's sexy.
I'm sorry, it just tastes like such.
What it makes
I
me
have to get water. Hold on. Go ahead.
Neil Hamburger.
Damn, son, you just got crushed by that. Have you really? Beer is that bad for you? Have you been like that? Were you a person who didn't like beer? There's a
Dude,
slight digression.
Still don't like beer.
You don't like beer?
I mean, I
What's
like.
your drink? Do you drink? Are you a drinker? Or what do you?
I've totally cut down within the past like 2 years,
Yeah.
but I mean, I used to be an alcoholic, like a full-fledged,
like straight up legit.
straight up, like I don't know how my car would be like parked like that, like
Just poor life decisions
oh,
every day.
I worked in a bar, so like
so enable.
yeah, I worked in a comedy club.
Average
and-
wine
One of
that
those
we're not
alcohol-
drinking. That my problem is now I'm not drinking good beer. Do you have any idea, people at home, how many times I've heard that over the years?
So it's one of
I
those.
just don't drink beer, and I know that I'm at the age where I'm out of the yummy stage, as they call it, and I should be able to like just enjoy a beer, and I'd like to, because it's a lot easier. If you go to somebody's house, it's very common. Hey, you want a beer? You know, not a lot of times you go to somebody's house. Hey, can I mix you a martini? Like that doesn't.
I
I
say
mean, it
that.
happens occasionally.
I'll
but
say that shit someday. I'll be a baller ass
I
bodybuilder.
did
I'll
that
do
in my last apartment. People would come over and be like, "Can I mix you something?" I had like a whole cabinet. Now I don't. I drank it all. I just have like sometimes I have vodka. Like I could mix you vodka and something. But it's very common to be like, "Hey, can I give you a beer?" Because like you're not gonna get shit faced.
Cocktail.
You're here for 10 minutes. Whatever.
I don't think
You know.
any
Anyway.
alcohol tastes good. Like
Oh,
I
well, I
just
disagree.
I've been
Amaretto. Riffopolis, am I right? Amaretto. Delicious.
I think-
Holler
I
at
think-
your boy, please. Holler at him. Don't leave me out of this limb all alone.
For Loco, holla at your boy.
Yo, Four Loko is the grossest
Oh,
shit in the world.
That's ridiculous.
I remember like I was oh man, Four Loko is just bad. I remember before it like became a national craze. I was introduced to it. I was in Vegas with some friends and this girl who was just like this like white.
no idea how many whores I am
There's this white girl who was acting mad hood, just like very, very like just a lot of real like hood slang or whatever, and her and her friends.
white pussy.
Thank you, Mitch. They needed blunt papers and the dude wouldn't sell them to her, so like I bought them for her, and like we went outside and her and her friends had bought Four Loko, and I remember thinking like,
I tell you that is wrong?
she was like, oh thanks my nigga, and I was like, well this is, and I was like, so that's who drinks Four Loko. All right,
Yeah.
good to know. And then it became like a big thing nationally.
yeah, it got outlawed in Portland.
Got banned all
Is it-
kind of places.
is it-
No,
Still-
it's fine now. What they outlawed the original formula.
Okay.
Now it's like half as strong now that it was then.
I had friends that lived by that shit. Like they loved it. They
It was not good, bro.
oh,
That's not a good look. It's one of those things.
God, I can't handle it.
It's one of those things. If you're drinking a Four Loko, you've like automatically disqualified yourselves for respectability for the night.
oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I got
Even if it's ironic drinking a Four Loko, it's not respectable.
I
A lot
had-
of yeah, wouldn't it be ironic if I fucking got blotto and started killing people? Bring me the PCP.
got
That's when irony comes back to bite you in the
Yeah, I
ass.
got
That,
blotto.
like,
That's a good reference.
that I don't know, overwhelming irony. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail this into a
it's
beer
okay.
conversation.
No, it was. I was just saying though. Like,
We're talking
he's
about
right.
local
Amaretto
cultures
is
for a
delicious
while
though.
there.
That's the only alcohol that I find delicious. Four Loko is not good. Good beverage at all.
I've never had it.
As
but
well, you should stay away from it. It's gross.
I have so
I
many
genuinely
friends,
really
though.
do like, rum and things like that. I like almost any mixed drink actually, but
So you
just
drink
rum even by
alcohol
itself,
all
but
throughout
it's
the
fine.
year. You just have 12 beers.
Yes.
People guests come and they bring
Yes.
beer, so yeah. And I
Okay.
literally
His
just
answer is yes.
yeah.
Okay.
His answer is yes.
Normally
His answer is yes.
Are you a big?
I had to put down a
liquor-
huge deposit on the new Riffin Studios / my new apartment.
yes.
And so in between waiting on checks, I'm down to like not enough money to buy myself more alcohol and more soda to mix together to have here on tonight.
Oh, okay.
So,
I thought you were
I figured I'll drink
sober
a beer.
and you were like
No.
once, 12 times a year. I have
No,
a
no,
one
no, no,
beer
no, no, no.
and take a wink at that alcoholism.
Every 3 equinox.
You've done shows with me. I drink like a fish.
Okay,
You know that.
I didn't remember, but
You didn't know. Maybe you just drank when you got out of here.
I
You were
was-
just like, I'm making up for lost time. You don't know what it's like back there. Ah.
No, I drink.
Gotta fucking consume.
I drink pretty much every fucking night.
Oh, okay.
I don't get drunk every night, but I pretty much drink every night.
see, I just gone a month straight without drinking.
Oh, Well,
It's,
sorry to have tempted you.
No,
Tell me what
I
the
went
taste
to
of-
that festival and I got shit faced like every night. But
Wow.
before that, it was like a month.
Bridgestone?
Yeah.
Nice.
It,
I love saying
Is it?
things like
It's
that.
sponsored by the tire company. Am I getting that right, or is that just Bridgestone, Portland,
Oh,
or Bridgestone, Oregon, whatever?
I don't know.
If it's a Bridgestone Comedy Festival.
Bridgetown. It's called
Oh,
Bridgetown.
Bridgetown. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bridgestone?
Oh, see,
Yeah.
that's what fucked
It's
me up because he
the-
said Bridgestone.
It's the
and I was
Michelin.
No, I said
I was at the
Bridgetown.
Michelin Comedy Festival. It was the big guy was there.
Good year.
Hey guys, welcome to the Michelin Festival.
I was in the Die Hard tent. I don't know if you guys.
Yamaha.
What you want to do is get sponsored by Pirelli. That's the ones. That only goes on Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
No, there's tons of bridges. There's like 7 bridges in Portland, so they call it Bridgetown.
Bridgestone.
Bridgetown.
Watch it with the making me feel whiter than white. For God's sake.
Let's just get weird, you know? It's not even white, black. Let's just get weird.
That's how the second hour should
kinda
start.
how we roll.
That's the ominous words. Let's just get weird. White, black. Let's just get. That's how motherfuckers die, son. That's how people die. I heard that before.
Let's just fuck each other. That's what I was trying to say. What?
I was gonna.
Hold on.
play.
He's not black anymore.
I was gonna
Ain't no gay on this.
head off into a conversation inspired by / spearheaded by the video you did with Jesse Case. So I'm gonna play that real quick, and then because it's we also we like to. Jesse Case has been on here a few times, so we like to
Jesse
also
Case, big
promote
shout
our
out to
promote
Jesse
our
Case.
peoples.
Oh, look at
Jesse
that.
Case is hilarious.
So this is
Good shout out for
this
him.
is
Good shout out for him.
Jesse Case's new project, which Richard starred in the first episode of, and it's only about a minute long, but it's pretty good. So I'll go ahead and play it because there's a good conversation to come out of this.
What's it called, Mitch?
Serious about masturbation.
I think I'm gonna jack off. MILF and interracial. It's like, what do you want to eat tonight? Like, every night I want to eat something else. Naughty America, DPing, RedTube. I plan it out way in advance. Pornhub, white guy, black guy, Mexican girl, Brazers. I don't even know. I get in a zone of like. It's not about coming for me. I got caught last night, actually. She looked at the iPad history. You looked at porn while I was asleep. I told her that I didn't jack off. That's even fucking weirder. Apocalyptic anal? I don't watch like pregnant porn. I don't watch like sick shit. It was some like apocalypse scenario anal fuck fest and then she like judges me. She thinks that I want that over her. I'm like doing something I've been doing for 10 years before I even met her. She thinks I just look at it too much. And like every day is too much to her. It's stupid as fuck. She'll end up losing me in the end.
Oh,
Wow, that was weird.
Yeah.
Fucking- yeah, you know
probably
what?
is.
Well played with the intro. Well done. You set that up nicely, sir. We got weird. We got weird there, bro.
When you
Yeah,
said
real
let's get
fucking
weird, I'm thinking,
Not
oh, I
fucking around
got
with
I got
that.
just the ticket. You did a good job on that. I liked it.
Thanks,
Now,
man.
of course, the natural question. I hate to ruin comedy this way, but how true is the story?
Oh, it's all true. Every bit of that.
Is it-
Yeah,
first
you
it started
you
off-
could hear it with every word.
At first, it
hesitating to
started
come out
off. I
of
was
his
like,
mouth.
all right, he's just going on a riff, and then it sounded like you were like, well, I have to throw something in
Nah,
here to
son,
like
he
keep it
meant
going,
that
and
shit.
then you could see in your eyes where it got real, where you're like,
Nah. You
for
mean- you
instance,
mean the
last
beginning,
night I
bro.
was like, ah,
It's
all right.
You picked that up midway through.
yeah. He was like, let's just do this thing where you just rant about something.
You know what it was? They started that sketch with one of those joints like, we now bring you to our broadcast already in progress. They had been like talking about that for like 10 minutes and the sketch picked
That's
up.
what it's hard to come off as natural in
Boom.
like 2
Nailed it.
minutes or whatever, or a minute and a half. So like, yeah, he ended up just chopping it up, and it was kind of choppy in the.
No, it works.
Yeah, well, this has a terrible delay.
What a
in the
saxophone.
video, but at home, they
1940s
saw it.
Detective
Yeah.
Noir.
They saw it full-
saxophone.
full,
It really works for you.
crime
Full
noir
speed
jack
everywhere.
off session.
Yeah, it's
But
good.
it was all true. I mean, it was all like, I was really caught
Yeah.
the other day. And but it's funny. My girlfriend saw it and she instantly like looked at me, and I was like, I was just hamming it up. Like it wasn't true. I don't think she's watching this.
Of
Is
course
she?
not.
You're
no.
caught in a web of lies
Yeah,
now.
sure. So she didn't actually check the history.
Heavy
and all
lies,
that.
she
She
did.
actually. Oh.
Yeah,
But
she
she
checks
saw
the
the-
fucking
I got
history.
Mitch is like, no, so that was
Well, no,
all,
what I'm
like, made
saying
up.
is
You're like,
because
no, it
you
was
were
true.
saying
so she
that-
didn't check it. No, she checked that.
every.
It's the fact that
every
you said she
fucking
watched
day.
the video of that video that we were just talking about
Right.
with you, that you did with Jesse. Is so she watched that video and you were like, she wondered if it was true. Like she would know because.
Well, not all of it. I mean,
Oh, okay.
there was a. I mean, the whole video. She was like wondering,
Right,
is it
right.
true? She knows, like,
I'm sure she got. I'm sure she got revelations that we got just as well, Mitch.
Yeah.
Right, that's
Just
fair.
because you
That's fair.
inside the labyrinth doesn't mean you can't still learn about the labyrinth.
Believe me,
She-
that's doing comedy when you have a girlfriend is a fucking. It's a whole new level of like you gotta you look over your jokes and after the fact and you're like, is she gonna realize that one line at the end of that one joke was sort of a jab at her, but totally
Right.
didn't mention anything specific, and only she would know it was about her.
The answer
and
is
she'll
always
fucking
yes.
oh yeah.
she
That'll be
gets,
the conversation on the ride home when she's like, by the way.
She
You're like,
gets mad at me for like flirting with girls on stage. Is it like I don't? I mean, I'm totally like a ridiculous
right.
animated version of
It's
myself.
it's the amped up version of your
Exactly.
persona, right? Yeah.
And I'm
And-
like
and
talking to a girl, and I'll be like jokingly kind of flirting with her because I look like a fucking slob, and like if I talk to a girl, it's funny looking, and
Right.
she always takes that as like, yeah, well, you were really talking. I know you were really trying to hook up with that girl, and like,
he's doing the thing of like for people at home and for you, Teddy, if you haven't seen, it's very much like he knows he's not actually hitting on her. It's funny because he'll like tell a joke about say jerking off or something like that. Then he'll look over and someone will go, "Hey, baby." You know,
Yeah,
like that
exactly,
kinda-
yeah.
Where it's like the joke is not even him hitting on her. It's the joke is entirely about him.
yeah, it's a visual.
And
like,
you really, it's weird because I couldn't imagine somebody being offended by
play
that or
off
whatever.
Of Adam Sandler and Funny People when he talks about Seth Rogen. He's like, "Do you even ever
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
get laid? All you do is
Oh.
talk about your dick
Yeah.
all the time. Like you never want to." But it's like if you just took what his words of advice were and just turned it into a caricature, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Or Seth Rogen from the stage is like, "Hey,
Right.
honey." Like,
Right. If you let it play out to its natural progression.
Right.
Almost, if you will. But I think that's the thing too that it's tough for. I feel like I've experienced a lot of significant others of comedians to grasp a hold of is that there is always essence of self and reality for a stand-up comedian on stage and their persona on stage, but in order to access that, you have to take yourself to unreal places, you know? And it's a very difficult thing, I feel like, for them to grasp, especially if you're someone whose material is very personal and very interacting with crowd work oriented. Because I know I'm very almost strictly observational, and if I do anything that's personal, it's very quickly turned into like, this is a thing that happened to me, but it's reflective of this larger thing that everyone else
Right.
knows. You know, it's very rarely am I like, this is a thing that happened to me, and I'm involved in this, and I'm the protagonist, and blah 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 blah. But so like, I don't necessarily have to worry about that as much as I know a lot of my peers do, but nonetheless, like you're still cognizant of the fact that you are bringing yourself and your personality and your whole persona onto the stage to project out to people. So that's
Yeah.
always, it's weird because someone knows you and they see how it gets crafted. You know, they get like, it's weird to have one person who gets like a perpetual behind the scenes access kind of thing. So they're always going to be thinking like, did you pull for this? Did you pull for that? Did you pull for that? Did you pull for this?
Was
So,
this
like,
about the conversation we had about socks the
right?
other day?
So like, it's like you can understand why they have that, but it's like you gotta at some point you're like you gotta get comfortable,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be a long ride, and it can't be this way forever, you know?
Right.
Because like I'm always going to pull from what's happening to me. And so you can either like be comfortable with it, or you can not be comfortable,
Yeah.
and then we can have whatever.
I had
Parting
a
ways.
joke back in the day. I'm sorry to cut you off. I had a joke
go.
back in the day that I
Do you have a bottle
I
opener
almost
around here?
immediately had
Oh,
to
right
stop
there,
doing
right.
because TK heard like part of it and he's like, "Hey, that reminds me of this other comic I heard some guy like years ago did this joke." And he told the joke, and I was like, that is the exact joke I just told. And he didn't even hear all of it, so I was like, all right, I'm not doing that one again. But the joke was about how, like, in the beginning, everything I do is funny and on spontaneous and whatever have you. And then after 2-3 years, it becomes like everything's a joke to you. And you can't plan for shit, and you always want to do stuff on a whim instead of planning it. And it was like all the things that in the beginning were like really hot are now like immature and irresponsible and whatever have you. And so the whole joke was kind of about that. And then at the end of the joke, I was like, but see, when you find a girl who doesn't do that, stick with her, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I've got going on, blah, blah. Which it wasn't, but whatever. She had zoned out.
Joke.
She had zoned out once she heard exact things she'd said to me. She'd zoned out and like went off to the bathroom to like vent to herself. I have no idea what that means, but that's what she told me she did. I was like, for all I know, she just stood in the bathroom and slammed her head against the wall. So she was
That's what that meant.
fucking psychotic.
Stew.
So yeah, exactly. So
good,
she didn't
solid
hear
word choice.
all the good shit that I said about her personally. She
Naturally.
took the joke about people and. You know what I'm saying? And I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm just fucked. That was the last show she ever went to.
I mean, and that's the
And
thing
we
though.
broke
Where
up
it's
a
like,
month later.
if it's a weird subtle act, but you've got to ride. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Where like if you take something that someone says and then you begin to do the creative process to twist it into something larger and something
Right.
greater, it's like you can't deny that was the starting influence for that. But at
Sure.
some point you're like, well, it's not the same thing anymore. Like
Right,
it's
right.
not. That's not like actually how I. You're like, nah, it's not how I actually feel. Like I am like
Baby, you heard Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
You can't start a fire without a spark. I mean,
you
you just
know,
the
like,
spark,
it's-
baby.
it's
You also
like,
need
or
the
it's
fuel
like-
and oxygen.
Yeah, or it's like it's just I'm weaving a narrative,
Sorry.
that I'm using to tell this story about this particular point, and I'm just happening to
We're
use
dancing in the dark.
happen to use myself as the character that the audience can best see it through. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you have to be.
Right, exactly, and that's the only way that it works.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where it's like you've got like it's the thing that I feel like is most lost about American culture in recent times, especially, is the sense of nuance. Is the sense of someone being able to perform and you seeing them up there and being like, this is a performance. I know that is a thing that I told them that influenced this larger thing, and they are, and if I go talk with them backstage, it's very different. You know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
and being able to separate that for better and for worse, because you can use that for good and you can use that for ill. But it's
Right.
that sense of nuance, though. It's like you don't just take it at face value. It's like, well, there's a performance happening. Why is this performance happening?
Yeah,
That's
like
what's
no
happening.
jokes in the bedroom. I get it.
Right, exactly.
You got to have that, it's
Yeah.
that there's a lot of those stereotypes about
Right.
other things, like, you must be a riot at parties. I'm like, nah, I'd sit in a corner, man.
Well,
I
it's
just-
the thing.
I
You know,
just
the
chill
thing is,
out,
and I don't know if you've ever gotten this, but like, I've always had this thing follow me where if I don't talk for a long period of time from hanging out with people, or like even if it's big groups or small groups, I'm like, oh, you're being really quiet, and it's like maybe I just don't feel like talking. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
maybe I'm just real cool. I'm like I don't want to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I've had that my whole life. I've had that happen where it's like maybe I just don't want to talk right now. And like people get so used to and expect so much of you interjecting and having things to add or whatever that when you're not doing it, and they're like, what's going on? Are you yourself right now? And you're like, yeah, I'm myself.
I thought you were a comedian.
Yeah.
I thought you would be funnier.
We're back in North
I
Carolina.
fucking, I gotta say, it always puts me on edge when I'm like at a party and somebody introduces me and then immediately goes, he's a comedian.
I hate
I'm
it.
like,
I
oh,
fucking hate
why
it.
did you just do that? Because now everything I say, it's like,
Expectations.
that's right,
Yeah.
because you're the funny guy,
Yeah.
and what you said was funny.
It's
I get it now. That's your thing. You're an archetype. Like, it's like
It's
fucking
weird.
just let me just be a person, just having a if I say something funny, you could say something funny. I'm not performing for you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a bit.
What I think is
drives me
really
nuts.
weird about that, more so than any other artistic form, is that you know someone that you're a singer or a painter or any kind of
Sing
kind of
me a
thing,
song,
right? But like
Mr.
that,
Piano
I mean, like
Man.
that might happen, But like when you tell someone or it's introduced into the conversation that you are a comedian, suddenly the entire way that you are viewed, and not only that you're viewed, but how you participate in that group has changed forever.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go back to just being a person in the group.
Yeah.
You know, because if anything fucking tense happens, then everyone's looking at you to break the ice or to carry them over and to somehow get them past. Or if you say something and they just laugh in your face and you're like, no, I was dead serious. I really do hate Richard. You know what I mean? And like, you're like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, like,
Richard,
fuck.
this guy hates you.
Right.
Dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, Richard's,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Richard's like, you really hate me?
What?
And I'm like, fuck you, man. And they're like, hey, look at that shit. You know what I mean? That's fucking crazy.
Am
Like,
I really doing this? I'm like laughing. Like, does he hate me? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah,
What's
like,
going
even,
on?
like even the person
This
you're
is
talking
meta.
to. It's so great. This is very meta. I have to laugh when it's meta. I have a condition.
I work at
Meta world laughter.
I work at an all Latino body shop in
Perfect.
North Hollywood.
Nice.
What's it called?
It's called
The All
Shout it out,
Latina
can you
Male
shout it?
Review.
Yeah, I don't know if you can shout out your body shop or not.
it's an auto body shop. No,
Perfect.
So you're a car guy.
Perfect.
I'm a janitor. I'm
Oh,
a janitor
okay.
guy.
I was expecting you to be a car guy.
But I'm learning a lot
Yeah,
actually. I've been
yeah.
there about 9 months, and but they're
know what
all
a carburetor is now, that kind of thing?
yeah.
You wear like a
That's
great,
the fan belt, bitches.
great
And it needs
jumpsuit.
replacing.
That's the change. Yoink. Everybody steals the change out of people's
That's the
cars.
keys to a Grand Dam. Daddy's
I
got
found
a date
20
tonight.
bucks under a car seat the other day. I was vacuuming it. 20 bucks under the seat. I was like, yoink.
Huh?
Nobody's
Good
fucking
stuff.
Fuck it,
missing that.
Good stuff.
But
Tough break.
they found
Note to self: check under the
right.
seats before I get it washed
Yeah,
next time.
they
All
recently
the body
found
shop
out
is
I'm a
grimy.
comedian, and
Oh,
I
God.
didn't tell them at all.
You never do.
Yeah, of course. I don't want them knowing
never do.
anything like that. And I wouldn't even. Some of them had sent me friend requests on Facebook.
Block all that shit.
And yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
no.
can't do it.
I don't wanna be your
it's
buddy.
It's nothing like I. They're actually great people. I just don't want them in my comedy life. You know.
Right, right.
And
That's
so
a different world. You can't be mixing worlds. Be colliding.
somebody looked me up on Facebook, and then they saw I had stand-up comedy in my profile of some sort, and so the next day at work, I walk into work, and I was actually fucking baked, and I don't usually smoke when I go to work, but I was ripped, and my boss calls me in. Can you come to the office? I walk in the office, and they're all like sitting around an iPhone watching one of my videos on YouTube. It was like, and they're all going, and then I was just like long walk of like,
yeah.
I can hear my voice on the iPhone.
Oh
and
yeah.
oh, it sucked. And my boss goes, "You didn't tell me." The main guy is a white guy, but everyone else is Latino, and
then you're the janitor.
and I'm the janitor.
So it's like a white sandwich, basically.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm on the
A
bottom.
Reuben.
I'm
A
the
little
heel.
bit.
Everybody shits all over me.
Not very good with sandwiches. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's a Reuben or not. I just want to say a Reuben and look at Daddy just.
I don't know if that's accurate or not, but Reuben is perfect. I don't know. It's
He's gonna write down. It's a Reuben.
It's a Reuben. It's gotta be on the board.
Go
It's
ahead.
gotta be
Go
on it.
ahead.
It's gotta
He,
be on it.
So you're walking up to the
I'm
Reuben
walking
sandwich.
up to the fucking the extra mayonnaise Reuben sandwich. White people love mayonnaise. Y'all know that? Did y'all know that?
I knew that. You know
He
that.
did crazy.
Uh,
I actually didn't know that until I watched Undercover Brother. But go ahead.
That's
That's when I was like, white people like
you ain't
mayonnaise.
never gonna be on
That's
no
true.
couch.
I'm white. I like mayonnaise.
One of the first comics I
That's
met.
true. Us white people do be crazy.
One of the first black comics I met. I mean, he was one of my best friends in comedy in the beginning, and he had a huge bit about what black people hate mayonnaise and white people love mayonnaise.
I mean, that shit is so basic
But you
truth.
learn from like
It's basic.
working the road and like seeing these weird comedians, and I love that shit.
It's true.
But back to that modern Guardian story. I walk in and my boss goes, "You didn't tell me you were a stand-up comedian," and I was like, tunnel vision, like Hitchcock, like. I go,
yeah.
I love it. I just went, I love it. And he goes, what? I was like, what? That I think it's really cool. Check this shit out. His fucking uncle, Skip Stevenson. Do you remember Skip Stevenson? He was. I don't remember him. He told me. He goes, I think it's so cool you're a comedian. My uncle was Skip Stevenson. He
The name sounds familiar,
He
but-
hosted he hosted some show in the 70s. He was like a huge stand-up comedian around LA. His name's on the wall at the Comedy Store. He's like this old school fucking, I don't know, one of those old guys from the 70s that was on it, hosted a show, but never really like popped off. Like
co-host of NBC's Real People.
Real People, yeah,
Wearing
yeah.
bright crew-necked sweaters. He was known for his quirky comments and playful flirtings with co-host Sarah Purcell.
Yay!
Yeah.
He died of a heart attack.
Yeah, I was saying,
Tough.
I just got to that part
Tough.
in
Well,
1992.
Here comes the real.
Exactly 1 month after his 52nd birthday.
Damn.
He had one son.
I feel like the way to go is the day before your birthday. That's an awesome time to do it.
the
If I had to
day
pick a
before-
day,
That's a terrible time.
I
That's a
always
terrible
have
time.
this
What
fear.
if everyone's got a bunch of plans together?
I
and shit
know,
for your
that's why
birthday,
it's
bro?
perfect.
I always
That's
have this.
terrible.
Because the thing is, you don't have to inconvenience people to gather
That's
on
a
your
huge
behalf.
inconvenience. A gathering for your behalf. That's
I
a
know, it's
terrible
perfect.
inconvenience.
You're
Am I wrong
already
with this?
here.
No, Rich is the tiebreaker. of this. Well, what is the bigger inconvenience? If everyone has a big plan for your birthday, right?
Right,
and
right.
then you die.
Surprise!
We're
you're
all
dead.
here. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Is that not a bigger inconvenience? They're like, damn, we just went from jubilant to like fucking crazy mournful.
I want it out there in the ether. Stay jubilant. I would have wanted it that way. You know what people always say? He would have wanted it this way. You always go, what? Did he ever tell you that? Hey, when I die, this is how I want it.
If you die,
I'm
before
just
your
telling you
birthday-
right
but-
now. When you find me dead, just be jubilant. I don't want.
Man, that's the
I don't
worst.
like sad
that's the
moments.
Best, you can't. That's the dumbest thing. When you find me dead, be jubilant.
Yeah, be jubilant.
They're like, yay. You're like, I'm not dead yet.
We found him. Yes.
Call the
He
police.
did it. He did it.
Don't be jubilant yet.
In the words.
Oh, he's still breathing. Damn. We're too happy. We're too happy.
Be as jubilant as you want to be.
I always have this
As
fear.
the wise. Oh, what the fuck was that? I can't think of them all of a sudden.
On my
Oh,
birthday,
so
if you
hard.
died on your birthday, your gravestone would look so fucking rad. Like this day and this day.
Well, that's true. Exactly.
That
exactly.
does look kind of badass.
I
though.
feel
You
like- I feel like-
came in, checked out, same
Yeah.
fucking day. What's up?
I feel
heaven?
like it wraps it up
You
perfectly.
know how old he was just
Yeah.
by
Exactly
reading.
what I'm saying. It's perfect if you wrap it up that way. It's like Houdini did the same thing, and it's almost like you accomplished a mission.
That's what I was
Houdini
about to say.
died on
You know,
his
you
birthday.
got-
If
through the mission.
If you come out and go out come in and go out on the same day, it really does seem like you were someone who fucking came in on day one. You're like, I'm just gonna wait till I grow up and then just burn everybody to the fucking ground. Then I'm out this bitch and fuck all y'all.
And they're never 100
Be
years
sure to
old.
put a stone on top of me so that motherfuckers know that I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Set out, mission complete. But bam,
46 years, I burned it to the
I beat the
ground.
end boss there.
Yeah.
This game is over.
I always pictured 50s, Johnny. It was Johnny's birthday, and he went on to Dead
And that's
Man's
actually probably
Curve.
what happened. That's actually probably what happened.
One of those. I don't.
Yeah, they're never, like I said, they're never 100 years old. It's always a little early when you go on your birthday. It's always early.
It's never the
Yeah.
person who finally found the person that killed their family and
Right,
avenged
right.
the death, and
Only in
then
movies.
right after they killed the final boss, a henchman just threw a ninja star and hit him in the neck, and they're like, "Oh, father, I have made it." And they went out.
I used to have a theory when I was younger, when I was probably early teens, just out of childhood, because all the times I heard about people dying, it was always they found him or her, blah blah blah, and everybody was really everything was happy because they had just gotten back a week before from a trip to Cabo that they always wanted to go to, something like this. So I had this theory for a little while that I was like, if you just keep making plans, you'll never die. Because you only die when you got nothing else going on. Well, I guess I'm done. Time to kick off. It was
son.
never. But yeah, that's been disproved many times in my life. But I'm just saying, for a long time, it seemed like people
I'll
only
disprove it
kicked off.
again right now. You
It
ready?
seemed like people kicked off when just shit wasn't going on. People would just get found after a week of just sitting in their house. And you'd be like, well, apparently it wasn't a very busy week for them.
You
You
know,
know, what I'm saying? So
that-
it seemed for a long time just keep making plans.
Remember the,
That's why I'm always busy. I don't want to
See what? That's
If I
fucked up.
sit still too long, I might just go.
What that
So,
makes me think of is, remember
you
the
know.
ship that the capsized a few months back, like off the coast of Italy, I guess somewhere. It was like the cruise ship that went
Yes.
down.
Right, right.
Remember the cruise
The
ship?
captain
yeah, the captain
bounced.
late.
Yeah, the captain deuced out. Yeah, the captain was like, "I'm out this bitch, son. I'm gone."
He
But-
got charged.
Yeah, as well he should. You
Yeah.
can't just be. You can't be a captain. Of a
Well,
cruise
it's his
ship.
fault.
Yeah, right. You can't be out that bitch, son. Even if it's not your
You're
fault.
supposed to
you
go
can't
down with the
Even,
ship.
I mean,
Them's the
tradition,
rules.
Yeah.
beyond tradition, your fucking fault.
Right.
It hit a sandbar or whatever.
But what I bring it up because of what you're saying, Mitch. There was I think it was an American couple actually,
Right.
and they had saved up their whole life.
Don't even. I get it.
No,
I get
they
where that's
saved
going.
up their whole life.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
went on this cruise. And
Well, you know
then
what
they
it
went
was,
missing, and
is
you
that
know, they
I
were
had-
missing, and then they finally like found the bodies, and they were identified, and they showed a picture of them, and it's just this old man and woman just like smiling with each other, like we gonna go on a
You
cruise
motherfucker.
someday,
You
and
son
like
of a
be
bitch.
with each other, and they were I think the only, I don't know if they're the only Americans and not on the ship or not, but they're the only Americans I think maybe found, but they like just recently found the body, but it was like they had saved up their
Yeah.
whole life.
You know
They
what it
saved
was?
up their
You know,
whole life for that
I
cruise.
was. Here's what I'm saying. I was probably.
fucked up.
And
I
they're
was.
just saying all that shit while you just looking at the shots of this
I was
sideways cruise
probably
ship, half
20.
submerged.
I was probably 20 before I heard somebody say like, "Oh, so and so died, and we were supposed to go to the river next week," or some sort of plan they had in the future with that person. So that's, look, as a dumb kid, I had a lot of dumb ideas, and that was one of them. And so, but I'm still paranoid to this day. That's why I always keep busy, make plans with people. Hey, you got that thing next month, so that people will be like, "Oh man,
See, I
we
think
had that
that's-
thing next month."
I
I'm the
can't
opposite,
die.
you know?
I'm
the opposite.
invincible.
I think I'm the exact opposite of you
What's that?
in the sense
You
like,
you won't make
like-
no plans?
Oh, not that I don't make no plans, but like I know that those. Like,
I mean, you
can-
got a
can make
plan
all
here
you
every
can
goddamn
make-
Monday.
You can make all the plans you want, but like it's irrelevant. Do you know what I mean?
You want to make the universe
you can
laugh?
make you can make plans if
Tell
you
it your
want to, but
plans.
maybe the universe is already making plans to make your plans irrelevant. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I had. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like on one side of the equation,
I know.
playing basketball.
Well, you got listen, you got a very very personal lesson in disproving my point. Had we talked back then, you'd have been like, "You want to know how I know you're wrong?" And I've been like, "Oh fuck, man, that just screws up my whole. I had this whole thing going. I had this whole theory worked up. Damn."
had whole hypothesis and shit.
I heard I read about that captain. He was trying to wave to a friend close to the shore, a friend who had this huge mansion on a bluff.
Get the fuck out
and
of
he
here.
could see the captain, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring the boat close enough
Show
so
it
you
off.
can see me waving."
What a fucking
And he brought it in
cockbag.
so fucking close that he hit a sandbar, or hit something.
Killed this old
And,
couple.
dude, what a piece of shit.
Killed these two people that had saved up their whole life to go on a cruise, just because you wanted to show off to your fucking friend.
Well, they
Yeah.
went on the fucking cruise.
Yeah, because they thought that the captain would be a fucking professional.
It
Well,
was the
look,
best cruise
just-
of their life.
I mean, you know that.
You son of a
fair.
bitch.
I mean, it up until their life
It's the
ended,
only
it
cruise.
was the best cruise.
Well, you know,
ain't
listen.
no better than nobody, Richard.
Up until that
Right.
last point, they were probably having the time of their lives.
This is
I'm
well
just
worth
saying,
it.
as far as making plans goes, they carried out the plan. We're gonna
No,
go on a
it's
fucking cruise. They
horrible.
went on a
Bro,
cruise.
that's not
horrible.
the plan, son. The plan was not step 2, go on cruise.
To
Step
die.
3,
Fucking die.
that was not the plan, Mitch.
Oh,
I
yeah.
get that.
It's
I'm so sorry. I mean, that's one of those.
I mean,
fucking
there's
tragedies, man.
nothing. There's nothing good to say about it. I mean, I don't know
No,
why I'm
no.
being put in a position where I have to say. it.
Defend it.
I'm just trying to. I'm ever the optimist.
we're
you know?
comedians and we make
Defend the captain.
we,
Go.
we say
Oh no, I'm
horrible
not doing
things.
that. No, I'm only trying to look on the bright side. Hey, at least they went on that cruise.
But
I
he
can't believe that's what
deserves-
went down though. I can't believe he was really trying
Yeah.
to fucking wave to a friend on shore.
Something that
Like
fucking
a
horrible
straight up dick bag. Like you would
came
think that,
from a guy being a douchebag.
yeah, like you like, damn son, damn. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is it with people being just straight up dicks? Like you would like I felt for a while we could be really safe with our pilots and our captains being cool, but now you got this motherfucker on JetBlue coming out of the restroom all crazy. You got motherfuckers
Yeah.
on cruise ships raving to their friends in mansions and shit. What the fuck is happening to
Yeah.
all of our pilots and captains and chauffeurs and drivers, B?
They-
I can't be going on no motherfucking vessels if I can't trust the motherfuckers in charge, son.
He was trying
It's
to
tourism season, B.
he was trying to ghost ride the
You can't ghost ride
Ghost
the
ride
cruise
the
ship.
boat.
We're gonna put ghost rides the
Come
cruise
on,
ship
man.
on the Ghost Ride the cruise ship is going on the board right now.
He's standing off the side, holding on to. What's
Yeah.
up?
It's the equivalent of that. It's that stupidity
Yeah.
showing off and like, there's nothing, he had the power to do it and he chose to
Right.
put all these people's lives at risk. I'm sure he knew like,
He
hey,
didn't
we
know.
could hit a sandbar.
He didn't
like,
think a fucking thing in a moment of his brain about that sandbar. He didn't give no fucks about that sandbar. If it was National Fucks Day, he could not have given a fuck about the sandbar.
Broke on Give a Fucks Day.
Listen, just imagine anybody right now in this room, okay? Riffopolis, imagine yourself, okay? You cruise ship captain. You driving a fucking cruise ship. Carnival.
trying to show off as if it ain't enough.
Okay, it's a
right,
cruise ship.
you're balling out of
Right?
control. You're driving a cruise
You
ship.
wanted a few.
And there had to be at least one comedian performing on that. There's got to be a boat act. You can't have a boat without a boat act.
Yeah, at least a magician.
Listen, it's
That's
not-
the only other thing that people will ask you to do at parties if they find out you do it.
Yeah,
It'd be
it's-
magician and comedian. Anything else? Colonoscopy expert? No,
Here's the other
nobody's
thing,
gonna
right?
have you looking
Here's
up
the
the
other thing
asshole.
about being a show off, okay? It's not like there's a bunch of fucking cruise ship captains in the world. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like there's just a whole tribe of cruise ship fucking captains just out there cold chilling. You already an elite company. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You already up there in terms of people that we trust with our lives to ride in the fucking cruise ship, okay? So you ain't really got to brag about shit, okay? Just show your fucking ID badge that you used to get on that bitch and just go get laid like every other douchebag, okay?
Yeah.
You ain't got to wave at your friend at the fucking mansion and crash the fucking cruise ship because you got to show off. For who? For who? And then you gonna jump off this bitch? If
You
they-
got to jump off the bit. Your friend's right there off the shore. You got to jump off. You got to be like, well, now I look like an asshole. I'm swimming to my friend Steve. Steve's gonna have a beer and a blanket.
I'm going
Steve
to
was,
my
Steve was
other
watching.
boat.
You know,
Yeah.
if Steve was watching, and Steve was like, "Oh shit, we've made a huge mistake."
This motherfucker ain't coming here,
I
is he?
totally saw it,
Steve,
dude.
Steve had a life raft and everything already pushed off, waiting for you to row in. I got the paddles tucked in that bitch. Just come to me. I got passports on the ready, son.
But you have to think though, who would have stayed on the boat? Like, what fucking person?
Where on my mansion do you see a dead boat storage sign? Because I see a dead boat and I
I mean,
don't
it
see a
would be
sign.
like a fucking. It would be a mosh pit, you know. It'd be
Well,
anarchy.
how quickly did it? I mean, that's one of those things. Like,
I mean, yeah, it went.
how
It
quickly
went.
did
It went fucking sideways.
I mean, you didn't have no time. You got no time.
If the
man.
shit capsizes like Titanic, I mean, it'll
If
take
you're
a
on the
good
left
20
side of
minutes.
that
But if
boat-
you fucking flip and you're on the side,
The left,
and
you
it's
got
upside
upside like
yeah,
this.
you got like
It's-
10 minutes.
It's not like water. There, it's like you're hitting ground, so it's like
Right.
there's an
You're
abrupt
you're
like
trapped,
people are
probably.
hitting their heads, people
trapped.
are breaking
Right.
their arms. Like it's there's
And that, if
it's
that
one
shit
of the
goes
worst
aside, though, it's like
possible
it's
ways
gonna
to
fill
die.
up with water so quickly,
right.
it'll just sink to shit.
And why? Because you had to wave. You had to wave to somebody. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like one of those things that disgust me about humanity, where it's like you can't just be confident enough in the fact that you could sit in the chair of a cruise ship that you're the captain of, and you can't just have a fucking moment to yourself where you're like, yeah, that's right, I'm captain of a cruise ship. And
But
hey,
you know, wait.
what? I got a friend that lives up there. Let me send him a text message. Hey, motherfucker, look at me. I'm in the boat right there. You
See that boat just over the
That's
horizon?
Me.
That's me.
me. Wave to the boat. I'm waving at you. I'm not gonna actually wave to you from the boat because I'm a professional.
Right.
And motherfuckers might die.
Lives
if
are at
I
risk.
do that shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, what about
happened?
tell who's sane and who's insane?
what about the fucking? There had to be a vice, like a captain, a second in command,
Second in command, yeah.
and he could
First
like
mate, is that what it is?
there had to
It
be
used to be. I mean,
there had to be someone else in there that was like
like all we know of ship terms is like what we see in movies, so we're probably way
First
off.
mate.
But oh, hello,
And then they would
aye,
need
Captain, I'm a first
Rip
mate.
Hoppers,
You know,
Rip
like-
Hoppers, every time, everybody who knows maritime slang, I need all my maritime lexicon verbiologists to step forward, please. Rip Hoppers, step forward, please.
I do believe either co-captain or first mate. Well, I think first mate's like cleans up the ship and shit.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. But
First mate, I
second
feel like
in
usually has
there's
command.
got to be a
co-pilot.
co-pilot
boat
of some sort of
pilot?
yeah
What?
boater
Dude.
co-boater.
Dude that's responsible for saving the ship.
The dude that says,
the
"Hey,
second guy
we don't
off
really need a wave. It's Steve right now."
That motherfucker that doesn't wave is what it should.
Does he have to wait?
Do
for
they
everyone?
wave? I don't think they are supposed to wave.
Look, I don't know. I'm just.
But that's so fucked, man. I didn't realize that's what happened, bro.
I mean, I feel like I got to look this up, but I wouldn't even know.
Damn.
It makes
son.
him. It makes you feel like he does deserve to go to jail.
I mean, he does though. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, that is direct negligence. That is criminal. If that is not criminal negligence, then nobody deserves to go to jail.
The
for
only
negligence.
reason
You
it
know what I'm saying?
happened is because he was in power.
Right.
Like power. You know?
I mean,
You got
like,
sole responsibility. We don't have like 6 captains on the ship. Do you know what I mean? It's just like one dude. It's like if you're a teacher and a fucking fight breaks out in your classroom and somebody gets, like beaten to death.
Oh, it actually gets better.
Oh, no, son.
You want to know the lifeboat he went away in?
Oh, he went in the lifeboats?
is this wiki?
Yeah, no, this is ABC News.
Is he really getting the
This
lifeboat?
is official story. Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. Like he got away safely because he got in the lifeboat. Here's
It's like that Seinfeld episode.
tell me.
Yeah, dude.
Tell me this doesn't sound like the biggest load of horseshit. I can't even believe these words came out of a human's mouth without everybody just going.
He thought about this before he said
This
it.
is
Oh,
you ready
yeah.
for this explanation?
Days of thinking about it.
I'm gonna have to turn down Teddy's mic because he's gonna pop.
Oh, no, why you go? No,
Just a little bit, just a teensy. I don't want popping in my
I'm
ears.
gonna drink a beer right now just to prepare for this.
I was helping some passengers put the lifeboat to sea. At a certain point, the mechanism for lowering it blocked. We had to force it. Suddenly, the system unblocked itself, and I tripped, and I found myself inside the lifeboat with a number of passengers.
Wow. Holy fucking shit.
I'm sorry. The old I tripped.
Hey, man,
the old
come
I
on.
tripped.
Holy fucking shit.
Did I tell you he was gonna pop?
What?
Did you hear about 6 pops
Hey.
just now?
Hey, first of all, fuck you and your predictive ability. Second of all, you gonna tell what? He tripped in the lifeboat? Can you read it again?
Wow.
Can we just hear
All
it again,
right,
please?
all
Can I hear it one more time,
right,
please? Can I
all
hear it
right,
one more time? One more time, please. One more time.
I had no intention of escaping.
You lie,
I was helping some passengers put the lifeboat to sea. At a certain point, the mechanism for lowering it, well, it blocked. We had to force it. Suddenly, the system unblocked itself, and I tripped, and I found myself inside the... I love the... I found myself. I tripped from a cruise ship. You tripped and found yourself? No.
No.
That's way too high to
Hold
be
on,
tripping
son.
and
Hold
finding
on.
yourself.
Lifeboat systems don't suddenly unblock themselves. You know what I mean? This is the most improbable thing I ever heard in my life. Suddenly, the system unlocked itself, and I found myself in a lifeboat that was leaving a cruise ship that was about to be turned sideways and drown a whole bunch of people. Do you know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy. You know what that shit is like? That shit is like George Zimmerman. He was like, "I'm sorry that you lost your son." You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker, ain't nobody lose their son.
Oh,
It's not a
oh,
national
yeah.
park.
Wait,
I
wait.
mean,
Fucking
Teddy,
murdered
you
him.
killed
I gotta turn
somebody.
it on again real quick. 'Cause
Damn
Teddy...
it, don't you keep saying no shit, Mitch.
Okay, so we can all
Anger.
we can all safely agree this guy rules.
Is
at
it still the captain?
Listen, yeah, I just want to say,
What'd you do, Richard?
as far as
you
semantics go,
You brought this up. This is your fault.
no, this is good. As far as semantics go, this guy is a master of semantics. Okay, ready for this? I can't even say this with a straight
No,
face.
I'm not ready for this at all.
I didn't abandon my ship.
Oh, motherfucker!
Hold on. There's a dot. There's a dot. This is so good
If
with
he
semantics.
says my ship abandoned me, I'm burning this whole
He
motherfucker
parachuted
down to the ground.
off.
I didn't.
I'm burning this whole motherfucker down to the ground.
I didn't abandon any ship because the ship turned on its side quickly and we were catapulted into the water. So I didn't abandon the ship because the ship, was on its side.
was
So
like-
how can you abandon a ship that's already catapulted into
wasn't
the
his
water?
fault.
I didn't
Yeah.
abandon the ship.
It was like a double dare mess up.
I
you know?
can just see Teddy's face just like going into this other world of like, right? I didn't abandon it. That is sort of it abandoned me.
Wait, no, hold on, no. But that's what I was. Wait, like, what did he say again?
I didn't abandon any ship because the ship turned on its side.
When I
quickly.
crashed it, when I crashed the motherfucking ship that I was the captain of, which then turned on its side from me crashing it,
Is he saying he
the
was
Port Authority,
catapulted
the
into
Port
the
Authority
life
were
Yeah,
the,
after I crashed the ship, hey, you can't blame me for the ship shooting me off the ship after I crashed the ship
I
and everybody
flew
fell
into
off.
a lifeboat.
well,
folks.
here's the
I flew out the windshield too. The accident is not my fault.
The
You know what
official-
I mean?
the
You're like,
official
go
recording.
home.
The official
Go
recording.
away
The official
forever.
recording on the ship has the Port Authority screaming and yelling at him and cursing at him, and it says that the Port Authority official
I would love to hear
repeatedly
that tape.
berated Schettino for not going back to the ship to coordinate rescue efforts, and at one point ordered Schettino to get on board for fuck's sake.
Yes, thank you.
Wow.
That sounds about what I would be if I was a fucking Port Authority.
Dude,
For
I
fuck's
would
sake,
have him in cuffs
go
instantly.
on the ship. You're the captain. For fuck's sake.
If
That's
he
what you'd be
wasn't
reduced
helping, he'd be in handcuffs instantly.
to. That's what I'd be.
The guy with the buddy with the mansion says that he's kind of a hero. He saved over 4,000 people. That's why we feel the need to strongly reject any attempt to delegitimize him and ask you to understand his tragedy and personal drama.
Wait, hold on a second. Who saved 4,000 people?
That's what
The captain saved 4,000 people?
That's what his neighbor did. The guy.
You mean
the
the dude
mansion?
who caused the accident?
Yeah. Hey, Steve.
The other half?
Yeah, Steve says that. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this would be like if I had a friend who was a pilot, you know what I mean? And I had like a jetpack. And I just like was flying around. And I was like, hey, that's the plane my friend is flying. I'm just going to go fly my jetpack and just shoot a laser pointer in his eyes. You know what I mean? And we were just like waving at each other. And I shot a laser pointer at him and the plane went down. And I'd be like, well, you know, like, he still saved half the plane, everybody. Like, let's just back the fuck off. And
All right,
like,
here's part of the recording, the transcript. The captain of a capsized cruise ship made repeated excuses as an Italian Coast Guard officially ordered him back on the vessel, potentially still packed with thousands of frightened passengers and a crew. Captain Francesco Schettino can be heard on the recorded telephone conversation with Italian Coast Guard Captain Gregorio Di Falco, telling the official he does not want to return to the ship, despite ongoing evacuations after it struck a rock.
I don't want to go to the ship.
The DeFalco says, tell me if
Sorry,
there are any
Edward.
children, women, and what kind of help they need. And you tell me the number of these in each of these categories. Is that clear? Look, Schettino, perhaps you have saved yourself from the sea, but I will make you look very bad. I will make you pay for this. Schettino replied, Captain, please. DeFalco, Captain, please.
Captain,
DeFalco
please.
replied, there's no please about it. Go back on board. Assure me you are going back on board. Schettino replied, I'm in the lifeboat under the ship. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm here. So that's,
Did any kids die?
look, I don't.
I mean, damn, son.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's.
Yo, that's even worse. Bro. I am here, actually. I'm in the lifeboat. I'm ready to leave.
I'm gonna need the
but
number
I'm
of
here.
people on the board. Well, I'm here. I just want that. Can we put that on the record?
Oh, you need a number? Everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody not in the lifeboat.
Yeah.
Good times.
I can't believe that shit got worse.
I knew it. I knew it was
got
gonna.
worse. It always gets worse. It always gets
You know,
worse.
it's exciting, Richard, having that you've never met Teddy. So it's exciting that you were here for one of Teddy's fun moments of exasperation like this. I mean, it happens every show, but it's always fun to see.
Hey, I can't believe that motherfucker said that.
This will be.
What was that quote again?
this'll
Can we
be-
just say that other quote?
I already closed everything.
Damn, son, I can't believe that motherfucker said he's.
He'll probably.
I
It
didn't
was
abandon-
basically, I didn't abandon the
ship.
ship because
What happened
I didn't
was-
abandon any ship because the ship turned on its side and sort of threw him off. So
You know
it
that
abandoned
crash
him.
that was my fault that caused everything to happen? That wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Do you think he'll?
Must have been somebody else.
Do you think he'll actually do any serious time?
I
He's
think-
under house arrest right now.
I think if it was any country, since it's any country but America, he'll actually do time.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Italy will actually do things to him. Berlusconi, they finally got him out of office in there. You know,
I mean, yeah. If it was in America, that he would be like.
we would pay him actually.
You know what I kind of love
he
about
would
the whole
probably be able to
Berlusconi
run
thing
for office.
was I remember like women's magazines that talked about Berlusconi, like the way he lavished his wife on her birthday and stuff, like the certain things that they did, and all the women were like, "How romantic!" And it was like, really? That's.
Really?
I mean, already you look bad enough for wanting
Him and
diamonds.
his bunga bunga.
Like in 2012, if you're a chick and you want a diamond,
That
you
was the
already
scandal name, was like
you
Bunga Bunga.
already look bad enough. You're gonna make it worse by being like, you know that dictator?
Yeah.
Oh, to be the wife? You know, it's like, really? You're not doing any favors for yourselves. Like, don't Don't go in the magazines and on the Oprah and talk about. It's not. And then he got me a diamond. Only 14 people died to make this.
Yeah, right.
He must really love me. That's another reason I don't have a girlfriend, because if the diamond conversation comes up, I'll be like, nope, that's not me. I will never buy one of those. So,
Do
cool.
you think if that happened in America, the boat thing, he would be like a Zimmerman right now? Like everyone would hate him because
It's gonna go both ways, because you're fair and balanced,
Right,
whatever thing
yeah.
like that. I wish that more news networks would adopt NPR's new strategy of like, not everything needs to be fair and balanced. You know what I mean? A rock isn't also a sponge. So if you reporting on a rock and somebody goes, hey, it's a sponge, let's hear the other side of this sponge story. Like we don't need another side to that. You know what I mean? A rock is a fucking rock.
Yeah.
So in the fair and balanced reporting, yeah, really, I guess it greatly depends. If the captain was, say, a big contributor to Republican campaigns, Fox News would be like, listen, let's not ignore that the ship abandoned him. All right?
I guess it's one of those things too, where it's like I think we've also got to reach a place as a culture and a society in this country where we're comfortable having a conversation about legitimate news organizations and then Fox News. Do you know what I mean? Because when people talk about news coverage, someone wants to bring in Fox News to the conversation, and we need to draw a hard line and say, no, that is an explicit propaganda outlet. We're not talking about them. We're
Right.
talking about news organizations.
Yeah.
So if we were talking about propaganda outlets and we wanted to talk about the Pravada of the Potomac, we could talk about things like Fox News,
Right,
you know?
right.
But we're not talking about that.
Right.
We're talking about correcting institutions like ABC News and NBC News and fucking CNN and things like that. So I feel like it's one of those disparities where it's like, if we want to talk about actual news coverage of how an event like the cruise ship would go, we could look no further than something like Balloon Boy, where CNN was like, what? If he had fallen 600 feet from the sky, would he be alive right now? And they're
Yeah.
like, no, he'd be dead. Like, he'd probably be dead. Like, he would be dead. What kind of question is that? You know what I mean? Like, that's the fucking worst. We would
Right,
be very
right.
superficial,
Yeah.
vapid coverage. You know, we wouldn't have any sort of, it would not lead to some sort of conversation about regulatory functionality for cruise ships and, you know, making sure that the Port Authority had, you know, actual, you know, like teeth that they could sink themselves into in terms of making sure that cruise ships could abide by whatever regulations. We wouldn't lead off into any sort of jumping off point in terms of making sure that our ocean waters were safer. It would just be a bunch of vapid bullshit from Wolf Blitzer talking to passengers who had, you know, survived, and then the sappy story about the tragic, you know, couple that had saved up their whole lives to do it.
Right,
And then, like, oh,
right.
by the way, America's cruise ships are a dying industry, and all the vessels are at liberty of sinking anytime. And now, after this, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are dating. Do you know what I mean? That's what would happen over here, I feel like.
Probably
if it was
fair.
Fox News, it would be like, did Obama once have investors that had the cruise ship with full of communists? You know what I'm saying? It'd be some dumb shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So just,
yeah.
I just like.
Do
I
you
bristle.
ever watch Fox News?
I do. I did actually watch a little bit of
I
Megyn
will say
Kelly's
that
America
in
Today.
Teddy's defense, he gets in bed with the enemy and
I
and
watch
lifts up the
it-
sheets to look at the dick and goes, man, that shit's gross. And then he'll come back to report about it on Facebook.
Dude, no, it's the same thing. I watch it to like, it's like,
You gotta know the opposition.
yeah, it's kind of like, whoa, can you really believe it's like that? Like they're
Yeah.
just blatantly like,
You can though. I mean, I guess that's one of those things where like I feel like I expose myself to it so much that you become numb, and there are no surprises anymore, and it's just routine, which is almost like the exact opposite of what you're trying to not necessarily induce, but what you're hoping happens to people when you're hoping that people see it and they're aghast and they're like, my God, there's just so much more terrible and corrupt than I would have ever thought. You hope that they have this extreme reaction that's like the opposite of you being like just another day at the office, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like grifter's gonna grift, you know, that kind of thing. So I think for someone who definitely exposes myself a lot to the inner workings of the other side, it's weird to then bring that information over and see how things that I am just very, just, you know, they don't faze me anymore, you know. And you tell it to somebody, and they're like shocked and horrified to hear that something like that exists in the world. And you're like, but that's been happening for like fucking ever. You've been like, you've been old. You're like 2 times as old as I am. Like, how do you not know this?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, you know.
Right,
And then you're
right,
just like,
right.
it's one of those times when like you
Well,
get
I mean,
you
it-
get how cynicism is a very effective tool, you know, because like someone who busts their ass to bring things to the daylight brings it out to the daylight, and everyone just either like shrugs their shoulder and they're like, well, it's all fucked, who cares? Or they're like, oh my god, that's so much worse than I thought. What can we can't possibly ever change it. And then you're just like, well, fuck, man. Like, no wonder these assholes win all the time because you guys just fucking
Well, I mean,
make it easy.
The thing is like is our memory so short that we don't remember that a scant few years ago Fox News would just fucking lick up anything that the Bush Co. would shit on the floor, and now suddenly they're skeptical on government, and you're like,
Right.
you were like up their ass
Yeah.
for 8 fucking years. Like
But gas-
anything they
the gas
anything
prices
they
are the
said
best
is like-
example. Where like
Yeah,
with Bush,
exactly.
they're like, well, let's slow down with all this gas
The
price
Middle East is
accusation.
out of
Whoa,
control.
hey.
We got to watch out for those
Well,
brown
they
towel
literally
heads.
were like, the president can't do anything when it comes to gas prices. And now 3 years later, they're like, fucking gas prices. Let's get this brown guy out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, like, what the fuck, everyone?
But it's one of those just like blatantly like unknown, like fuck you kind of.
Right, they're like, we're gonna-
everyone knows it.
Well,
but
yeah.
Well, no, because that's the thing is, I was reading a thing recently. I don't know where it was. It was a respected newspaper, as it were, and it was a report where they had done a survey of like 100 economists or whatever it was. I want to say it was New York Times, maybe, but it was like a survey of like 100 something economists, and they asked them all point blank questions about these various things, trying to see like what do economists agree on, and they all agreed that regardless of what happens in the White House, it has almost zero effect on the price of gas.
Right.
Like that shit
It's been
is
that way
out of
forever,
our
right,
hands.
right.
So they all agree on this, and they all agree on that, and they all agree on and they all agreed that universal health care was a net gain despite prices and stuff like that, and taxes and whatever have you, a net good for America. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so what is your counter argument to that anyway? You know, because the counter argument is like
They're all liberals, and they're
economists will
fucking
agree.
fascists, and they're commies.
It's
and
bad
they're
for the
terrorists.
economy. It's bad.
That's it.
It's like
That's it. That's what you do. You impugn character all the time. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
they're fucking fascist. It's the thing where like it used to be that you couldn't fucking disagree with the generals or you were
I
fucking
think your
traitors.
mic is turned around, by the way.
No, it's here. You good?
Yeah,
Am I-
now it sounds-
like you
it
couldn't fucking
sounded
disagree
muted.
with the generals. You know what I mean? Like it was a few years ago where like to disagree with the military and the generals and the fucking advice on the ground was the most blasphemous hearsay thing
yeah.
that you could do.
9/11.
And now you've got Paul Ryan going around saying that the chiefs of staff are liars for saying that the Obama administration's budget is like that has all these defense cuts. The budget, like you know, the cuts to the defense budget is 2 thumbs up. They agree with those cuts, and he's like, no, they're liars. That's not what they really think. And like that shit was literally treasonous in the Fox News world as of 3-4 years ago. Do you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Yeah.
So and not only in Fox News, but then ABC News and NBC and CNN and MSNBC would all get behind like, is it treason? Is it treason to fucking say this? And they'd bring on all the operatives and we would debate whether or not it was treason to disagree with the generals. And now Paul Ryan can run around calling out the generals as liars and no one gives a shit. And why is that? The only reason that is because it has to be. It's okay if you're a Republican.
I think
that's
the-
the
I think-
only.
I think right off the
reason
bat-
that it has to happen.
To me, the one of the worst. I don't want to say inventions, but changes in the modern era that's been overwhelmingly detrimental is the fucking 24-hour news networks. That's the worst idea in a long, sad history of bad ideas for TV. Like, I'd rather 23 hours of reality shows and 1 hour of news.
what's
Because
wrong
they-
with 24 hours?
When you have 24-hour news, everything needs to be, let's get some people in here to talk about this fucking minor thing that nobody gives a shit about. Let's pick apart this minor issue. Let's give airtime to, anti-abortionists. Let's give airtime to people that only have a bone to pick and have no scientific knowledge whatsoever. Let's give airtime to people who really just want to nitpick whatever Obama's doing because we don't like those black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's frankly, let's give the Klan airtime, but they just wouldn't let them go on there with their hoods because that's a little too obvious. But frankly, they fucking would.
Yeah.
And in fact, I remember when Obama was running for president, just a few months before the actual election, there was a newspaper, or I don't think it was the New York Times. It was a relatively prominent newspaper that did interview the Klan about like Obama and McCain and whatever have you. And hilariously, they didn't like McCain. They would vote for Obama. And what was interesting about that is they were like, it's not that we hate black people, it's that we want black people to stay in black circles. So they liked Obama. Fine. Thank you.
Wow.
They liked
Two
Obama.
Two beers.
I fucking hated the first one, but whatever. It's getting me drunk. So
But the
let's go
second
with
one
it.
is gonna be delicious.
That's what I'm hoping. 'Cause, I've never had 2 beers in a row like this. But so it was. They were like, well, he married a black girl. Like their whole thing was like, a lot of times black people get prominent and they get some money, so they marry a white girl
you're
just
talking
to
about the
rub it
Klan.
in your face.
You're talking about the Klan.
But Obama sticks to his own, so
that's
they
so
liked
sad that I know
Obama, and
that.
I thought like,
So sad.
how hilarious. But anyway, that's the kind of thing when you have 24-hour news
But
and
that's
worldwide
I think
connected.
that's a good thing. I mean, as ignorant as that is,
I actually
But
don't mind that
it's
particular.
America.
I don't
Everyone-
mind that particular viewpoint. I guess what I'm saying is that I think
I
when
do.
you've got 24-hour news,
I'm just-
people will make a
I wanna hear what
scandal
Rich
or
has.
like a big event out of little things. But please go ahead.
I mean,
Please,
just
go ahead.
being on the
We
news.
should probably wrap up here soon.
Yeah,
I think, a little
yeah.
bit, but.
Then
Just
we'll
being
go
on
into
the news
bonus shit.
doesn't mean it's like important. You're like you're saying, there's 24 hours. They're just trying to fill space, fill time. But like, I like the idea of everyone being able to talk, no matter how fucking stupid they are. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that. I think
fair.
the difference. I think the difference is in terms of how it's represented to the citizenry at large. So, to the idea, I think what Mitch is saying, it's if you take an organization like CNN, which is used to be the most trusted name in news or whatever,
Right.
whatever their
That's what
slogan
I
was.
always think of.
Right.
like-
So if you take CNN for example,
You look
CNN,
at their front page, and it's just
and-
it's so much horseshit.
Right, CNN always
Overwhelmingly
tries to
horseshit.
present itself as this international news powerhouse. If you have a
Oh,
breaking
wait, real
story
quick.
of some
Sorry.
kind, go ahead.
I'm just CNN front page, right? Just as a perfect example. I just pulled it up. DNA tells tales of Manson family is their top news story.
And John
Manson
Edwards.
Manson just failed his final parole
Right.
hearing, which he didn't even attend because he knows he's never getting out.
Right.
Like, why is that at the front page of
that's
your
great.
fucking newspaper?
So if you take a CNN for example, and most trusted name in news, and they want to be this groundbreaking news organization, and if they have the whole I report thing, you're supposed to send in information to them.
Interestingly, the side news story on the left was nice. John Edwards could face up to 30 years in prison if convicted of all
That's
6
not
felony
nice.
and
No one gives a
misdemeanor
shit about
court
John
counts
Edwards.
against
No
him.
one gives a shit about John
About
Edwards.
what? What?
It's
interesting.
for the fact that he
Broke law to hide a mistress.
He had his mistress, and there was the laws, and
I don't know. I don't know
He'll
what the law
probably
is.
do 30.
Unlike any Republican who has actually had a fucking affair and crime and
Yeah,
cover up, John
exactly.
Edwards will actually do time. No one gives a shit about someone like John Vitter from Louisiana who had prostitutes. I digress. My point is that if you take an organization like CNN, they will be able to get away with this facade of we're a serious news organization. Come to us. Trust us as a news source. But everything that they present is not news. It's infotainment. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you're talking about, which is like, yeah, sure, everyone should get the crack at the microphone. We should exist in a society where if people want to give Kim Kardashian and her sisters a bunch of reality shows and pay for that shit to be on air, then like, all right, fine, there's a market for that. Whatever, we can judge them accordingly if there is a market for it, but the balance of those two things exists. It was like if we have a bunch of crackpots who want to get on a 24-hour news cycle and spot off crackpot things, they should be able to do that, and then we should be able to then accordingly judge and categorize their organization.
Either of you ever seen Network?
Yes, it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, the I'm
Howard
mad
Beale.
as hell and I'm not
Right.
gonna take it anymore. That's
Yeah.
where that quote comes from.
Oh, right.
But
it's
the idea
that movie is effectively about
It's a
what would
brilliant
happen
satire.
with 24-hour news if left unchecked. If anybody could just bring up any crack, gonna give this guy
where we're
airtime.
at though. I mean, it's
Yeah.
where we're at though because it's one of those things where if you're an organization like CNN and you take someone like Andrew Breitbart who just died recently, you can't have one of your anchors, who's supposed to be one of your franchise anchors, and Anderson Cooper, file a report that that thoroughly and accurately list Andrew Breitbart as a liar and depicts all the lies that he has spouted in recent times, and then turn around and invite him on as a guest to appear a few hours later within the same day or the next day. You don't have any credibility as a news organization anymore. As an infotainment organization who's just interested in putting clowns up to the microphone, you got all the credibility in the world.
Right.
But as an actual source of news to figure out what the fuck is happening in the world and how I should proceed accordingly, I cannot invest any faith or trust in you. Because what kind of reputable organization is going to say on one page, this guy's a fucking liar, and then on the next page, well, read what this liar has to say.
Right,
Do you know what I
right.
mean? Like, it's at one point you either like, well, read what this liar has to say, but he's a liar. But they don't do that when they put him on again. They're like, well, just
Where do you get your news from?
I go from a lot of pretty much all online.
I'll be honest with you. Daily Show. I swear to I don't like. It sounds like weird.
No, it's not
No,
weird.
it doesn't.
Yeah, it's
It
weird.
doesn't.
I did an internship with the Daily Show, so I don't think it's weird at all. Actually.
Yeah. It's dude.
I mean,
it's like
they
how,
research their shit. That's the problem. Is like somebody who's anti the Daily Show, which would have to just be somebody who loves Fox News,
Exactly.
might say disparaging remarks, but they do their fucking research. There's satire, and they certainly make fun of the shit. But how could you not?
Exactly.
It's
mean,
like
I
I
mean-
like it given to me real.
Yeah.
Where
Right.
it's like, look at these fucking clowns.
It's one of
Which
those
is what
things-
that's all they're doing.
With the Daily Show in particular, it's one of those things where I remember I had an assignment to do a run a long time ago where they were, it was, I forget what the segment was exactly, but it was right before we were going to go on air, and they were saying, we need a clip from Fahrenheit 9/11 with Donald Rumsfeld shaking Saddam Hussein's hand. There's a scene that Michael Moore pulls for Fahrenheit 9/11, and they wanted that for whatever clip, so I had to go run to the DVD store that we always got stuff from, we had an account with, and then grab the DVD, and then hustle back on the train, and then cue it up in the DVD player, write down the time code, and then take it down to them so they can pull it out or whatever, and then they ended up in the show. But I mean, that's the kind of thoroughness that exists there. That's the kind of truth to power that doesn't exist at an organization like CNN, because all the people that work in CNN go to cocktail parties with Donald Rumsfeld and Donald Rumsfeld's aides and
Right.
Donald Rumsfeld's staff. So they don't have any reason to be critical of them because they are their friends. And no one wants to really be critical of their friends because that's who they get their stories from and their access from. You have a whole network of people protecting their friends, and they don't give a shit about the rest of us because no one wants to file a negative news report about the person they're supposed to meet up with at happy hour or go to a dinner party with the next day.
Yeah, you're at a fucking party with them. They're not
Right.
gonna narc on their friend.
No, not at all. It's basically when you watch cable news today, you're watching millionaires talk about their other millionaire friends, essentially. That's all it is. And that even goes to members of Congress, which is why it's so infuriating. I mean, to watch,
Well, look,
Congress has such low approvals, the House of Representatives in particular, but that's why they have such low approvals, because anytime you see them appear, you're basically watching millionaires talk to the millionaires. If you look at the net worth of Congress now versus where it's been in other parts of the history, it's I think it's
I will
pretty
say on
astronomical.
the flip side, just to end this on a positive note.
Maybe we should do
that.
Bonus time.
9/11.
No,
9/11.
no.
We're gonna take ecstasy for bonus time.
The
Inside
greatest
job.
thing, the greatest tool we have as a people, and really the greatest weapon, if you will, and the greatest fear of those in power is the internet.
Machetes.
And it's it's an awesome thing insofar as, like, for instance, when we do this podcast, we can literally say whatever we want. At no point is a guy going to come in here and be like, "Hey, we can't say that on the air."
We don't know that.
Nobody's going to say that.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
We've said many things on this show.
And it's only a matter of time.
There's nothing preventing that. Anyway, so
my
so
point.
it's nice that you can go on and for better or worse, you can literally spout whatever you want on the internet. But having a populace that is constantly connected at all times, and it's interesting when I've spoken to people in different countries or different parts of this country and things like that, and getting different viewpoints that I otherwise wouldn't. That's never happened before in history. You'd have to write a letter and wait for the fucking guy to ride it on the horse or whatever the fuck. And that's a great thing. So insofar as, Fox News is a piece of shit and 24-hour news seems like a really bad idea because they just want to fill airtime with, fluff and whatever have you, people are overwhelmingly escaping mainstream media from all aspects,
Real-time
from
pushback.
from TV, from radio, whatever have you, and just going, listen, I'm gonna block out all your horse shit. I'm gonna DVR the things I like. I'm gonna look up on the internet things I want to read. I'm gonna ignore all the dumb shit that I don't want to deal with.
Right.
And that's the great thing that we have to wonder about. And very quickly, another one of when things are getting better kind of thing is like I hate to leave people on like a doom and gloom kind of.
Well, I'll bring it up. I'll pick it up for you. Don't worry about it.
What you need to realize is things like, for instance, the Italian cruise ship captain, or oh my God, it's killing me. I can't remember his name right now. Trayvon Martin, for instance, case. And I can't remember who said it, but it was something, a scandal many years ago. It was similarly a black kid shot, and I want to even say it was Morgan Freeman said it. It was like they're fucking reporting it, which is a worlds away from where we were.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
terrible what happened, and that's terrible tragedy. But the bright side of either of these tragedies or any tragedy is that it gets reported, and there is outrage and there is shock. There are people going like, "This is not how we treat humans," and that's the thing you kind of need to take away. That things are getting better. We are getting more civilized. We are getting closer to a sort of universal morality and a world culture. So that's a beneficial thing and awesome for this podcast as well. Richard, real quick, what do you have coming up? What do you want to plug?
I don't have anything fucking coming.
Website.
You got a
I
Twitter?
have
What do you
Richard
got?
Bain, Mr. Richard Bain on YouTube. Tons of videos, always updating. I have.
Is that Mr. Richard Bain or Mr. Richard
yeah,
Bain?
Mr. Richard
Okay.
Bain.
I just didn't know if it was
Yeah.
spelled out.
No,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't ever thought about it like that, but
That's what we do here.
also, I do videos with a group of guys. We're called Decision Makers Penthouse, and you can find them under the name Bobby Hacker. It's best fucking shit. You know, it's really good.
Also on YouTube.
Also on YouTube,
You got a Twitter?
Dick Bain.
Dick Bain.
Dick Bain.
yeah.
Matalo.
It's my real name, Dick
Oh, yeah.
Bain.
That sounds like some fucking
It's all. It sounds like
80s. It's like Die Hard villain.
yeah. It's the worst name. Dick Bain. Dick Payne. It rhymes too.
And you're on the,
I
are
think
you on the
Richard
old-
Bain sounds like. I mean, look, you're either gonna be a stand-up comedian or a serial killer with a name like Richard Bain. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
third
Makes a fair
Such
point.
Richard Bain.
Richard Bain the third. You're a serial killer.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
I'm the
100%.
third.
So,
But thank you for having me on.
anything on the Facebook? Or are you?
Yeah, on Facebook, Richard Bain, and always writing jokes on Twitter. My Twitter's where it's at.
Good stuff.
Well, I'm gonna try this.
Richard.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Teddy. Oh, this is what I was looking for.
That's what you're looking for. Go ahead.
Richard Bain.
See?
Works out that way. Yeah. Richard
Yeah,
Bain.
that's good.
Satan.
Yeah.
That's good.
Richard Bain.
That's good. I
Richard
approve.
Bain, come do my bidding.
All right.
That's appreciated.
All right.
He appreciates
Sorry.
that, I'm sure.
Oh,
I had to do that.
I listened to that.
Teddy, what you got?
Oh man, just in these streets,
Running them.
running them.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
always.
I do want to tell people that we are moving to a new studio, which is to say I'm moving to a new apartment, but the apartment will have its own actual permanent studio for Straight Riffin', and I'm super goddamn excited about that, which means we may not have an episode next week because I'm not sure how much moving I will get done this week, and I don't know if I'll have everything set up over there. So I'm going to try, but no guarantees, and I apologize in advance. We'll put up some bonus of something or other if we don't have an actual live show.
Just be grateful.
Yeah.
Bitches.
Motherfuckers. Shit.
Mitch, what you got?
That's what I got.
Oh, okay. Well, that was good.
Loving. No, literally, I can't think of anything right now except for moving the fuck out of this place and over to that place. So
Yeah.
I've had to like, tell no to a number of people and go, I
Yeah.
can't do it. I could say yes, but then that takes away from all my moving.
Well.
So, anyway,
We'll do the bonus. You down for some bonus? We get on.
you got to run or you want to stick around for some bonus or what?
Bonus. What is bonus?
Just this, more
this
of this.
plus more drinking.
Okay.
It's like-
well, I have to go soon, but
Well,
All right.
we'll roll it.
Cool. All right. We out.
Bitches.
Thanks for listening to Straight Riffin'. You can catch all past and future episodes of Straight Riffin'